Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2016 Oceanic Pro League Final. My name is Michael Hingersing, and we are coming to you live from the Piazza in Brisbane. Behind me, the beautiful Brisbane River. It's very wet. And next door, thousands of esports fans are arriving now to the arena to watch this grand final event between the two biggest names in Oceanic League of Legends. We have three-time OPL champions and title defenders, the Chiefs, facing off against their closest rivals and split two minor premiers, Legacy Esports. I am joined here at the analyst desk by professional League of Legends analyst and shoutcaster Jake Spawn Tiberi, as well as BIS Esports support Bradley T-Gun Seymour, and maybe the greatest, it's a special guest, maybe the greatest League of Legends player in Oceanic history, a man who up until a month ago was playing with the Chiefs, AD carry for now the Direwolves. It is Derek Raider Trang. Welcome to you all. Of course, last year in the OPL Finals, the Chiefs beat a less than full-strength Legacy squad, so this is kind of an unprecedented thing, right? We're seeing a grudge match, it's an El Clasico, but Tigger, let me start with you. Are you excited for this, to see a full-strength Legacy squad?
Yeah, I thought they were going to win last season, but then the King situation happened.
Sure.
Now you have him back. He's looking to prove himself. He wants to come in and say, I am the best, right?
And
so he's coming in hungry.
And are you enjoying your time here in Brisbane, in the
oh, it's phenomenal.
the capital of Queensland?
Absolutely phenomenal. I went for about an hour-long walk yesterday, just checking everything out. Tomorrow I have it off, and I'm going to eat at about 12 restaurants during the day. It's going to be wonderful.
Not the food, just the restaurants themselves.
Yeah.
We consuming the
whole
places
thing.
of business.
The whole thing.
Single-handedly, we putting small businesses out of business. Let me move on to Raider. Does it feel weird for you to be kind of here on the analyst desk, or do you feel more comfortable here, given that you're not competing? I mean, you've done so many of these now, right?
Yeah, it definitely feels weird because it's like I'm just so used to being Chiefs vs Legacy and playing in there, and then suddenly like I'm out here on the analyst desk without any pressure on me, and I'm like, oh, I get to watch them play, and I don't have to stress. I can just watch them from my own little cocoon here.
Yeah,
and
you can just be lobbing grenades from the side.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
Like, hey,
I can just lob grenades from the analyst desk and be like, you guys screwed up here in game one, you screwed up game two, etc., etc.
And Jake, you're here. Obviously, you hosted for most of this OPL split, and then I came in, usurped your sweet spot.
Yeah,
I'm here.
thank goodness for that, because that was one of the gigs that I probably wasn't best suited for. However, much more comfortable down this end, getting to, as Raider said, lob grenades at some teams. And I do want to point out that it is nice to have you, Raider. I mean, unfortunately not playing into the games, but at least another OPL final that you will be a part of. You look very dapper in the suit, however. It's a little bit better than the Chiefs uniform, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I always look good in the suit. Actually, let's just say I look good in everything. So.
Wow. Such humility from the analyst desk already. Jake, you've been following these guys all split, right? You've been tallying up these teams, looking at lots of stats and stuff. I mean, how are you feeling about this? Are you excited?
Well, the first OPL final, actually, Caster Oceanic final, was Legacy versus Chiefs in 2014 winter. Radio was a part of that team that got beaten ultimately, and then I casted them again in summer when they got beaten again. So, I was around when Legacy was actually getting the upper hand in these finals.
Oh my goodness. Well, the hype is real, and for those of you keeping score at home, you might remember that we've also been running a tipping comp amongst the casters throughout this split, which, to be honest, did, frankly, peter out towards the end, because the rule was whoever got last would be dunked in a dunk tank at the OPL final, and it became very clear a few weeks ago that one person was losing so badly that it became a mathematical certainty that they would be the person getting humiliated live on stream, making the rest of the tipping comp, frankly, largely unnecessary. Well, the time for the dunking has arrived, so let's go to Rusty, who is by the dunk tank right now.
So we're here at the OPL Finals. We've been running a competition all split, and the loser of the competition has the honor and the privilege of actually getting chucked into a dunk tank. And we're happy to announce that the loser of that competition is actually Atlas. Let's have the pleasure of dunking him now, shall we? You ready? Yeah. 3. So, how's it feel?
Cold, Rusty. It's quite cold in here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. No, it's fine now. Yeah,
Perfect.
We're good. We're okay.
And that's why he's a play-by-play that shouldn't enter a tipping competition.
It's a good call. It's a pretty good call.
Yes. Good from Rusty there. That's why he's a play-by-play who should not enter a tipping comp. Tegan, you're looking keen. What are your thoughts on this?
He looked really, really sad once Rusty said that. It looked like he'd been offended.
Honestly, someone at home needs to gift the hair flick as he comes out of the water, because the hair flick that came off Atlas was utterly superb, to be honest.
Majestic.
There's a sponsorship opportunity somewhere for that.
I mean, because famously, Atlas has, a dozen hair products he puts in to keep the coif happening. Let's move on from the dunk tank, shall we? As we get closer to the game, it is time now for the 2016 OPL Awards. The split was the closest in OPL history, including tiebreakers galore in the final week, but we at the OPL had thought a few people really stuck out, so we thought we'd take the opportunity for shout-outs and call-outs. So these are the OPL Awards for 2016. Let's start with Rookie of the Split, and it goes to Luch. Let me start with you, Jake. You were the deciding vote on this one, in fact.
Yeah, it certainly was, and Luch, against Paradise really was too close to call, to be frank. I mean, Paradise carrying AV in, but we just thought that Luch's consistent performances on a new lineup like Abyss that had gone through 2 roster changes coming into the OPL were pretty frankly amazing to nearly get them through that tiebreak.
Yeah, and Tegan, I mean, this is, your teammate, right? And did you feel like he deserves this award? You'd hope so, given that you play with him.
Definitely. In my opinion, it was up to him or Raid.
Right.
I didn't even think about Paradise. I didn't think about Lost. I thought both of them performed phenomenally. I mean, they pulled me through to 5th place finish. Sorry, 6th place. Tiebreakers really suck. But they did a phenomenal job, all split.
Excellent.
Especially, I mean, Luch made the penta. The only reason he didn't get the pentakill was they wanted to dive the fountain, and I'm screaming, no, just end the game, please. I can't take it. I just want to get out of here.
I mean, you do have the Rookie of the Year, but unfortunately you're still here again on the analyst test. Didn't quite make the finals.
You had to mention it.
Speaking of calling people out and roasting them, we've also got our next award is the King of Banter for this year, and we're giving it to Egypt, who plays support for the Chiefs. Now, let me start with you, Raider. You obviously spent a lot of time playing with Egypt this year. Does he tilt you at all when he's just going off with the bants?
Well, when Agent's playing well, everybody knows, Agent's a happy guy. And then the moment a little thing goes wrong, he dies, or maybe the ADC does something he doesn't like, he looks at the game as a 1v9. It's everyone against me. I don't like anyone. Screw you all.
Spawn, let me ask, do you have any, highlights from this year from Egypt just going off?
I think that the best thing about Egypt was kind of where he decided that he wasn't able to play anything that had disengaged. So for weeks at a time, he was running around on Bard, Alistar, Thresh only, trying to solo carry games throughout the Chiefs slump. So I really do think that Bryce is one of those players, Egypt rather, is one of those players that he will try and single-handedly, as a support player, pull his team along with him. He really does believe in the 1v9 mindset when his team is kind of a sinking ship.
Yeah, and I mean, support players, right? You've been his opposite many times, and you told me backstage you respect him as a player, but perhaps you're not as big a fan of the band for the old Egypt.
Well, I mean, we don't give each other Christmas cards, if that's what you ask. That's never going to happen.
Who in the LoL community do you send Christmas cards to?
Spawn.
Right, okay, just Spawn, just Jake, fair.
No, he's a phenomenal player, absolutely. But his banter just gets me on edge. And I'm sure that's what he wanted to happen, right? And maybe that's why he isn't the biggest fan of Kuden. Kuden just sort of flies by him, Kuden just stares aimlessly, doesn't really care.
All right, well, let us move on now to the most improved player of the split, and that is going to be going to Pac-Man. Let me start with you there, Tegan. I mean, this guy is another Abyss Gaming compatriot of yours, and we're also calling it the Carbon Most Improved Award on account of Carbon won this 2 years in a row, but this year it's going to Pac-Man.
I thought Carbon should have had 3 years in a row.
Third year most improved.
Given him the award forever.
If these trends continue, he could be the most infinite player ever.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've won a couple of awards, which is great, but we didn't transition it into top 4. So don't get me wrong, I am ecstatic for Pac-Man. He's done really well this season, come really far from where he was.
I mean, Raider, you spent a lot of time, you spent a bit of time playing against Pac-Man this season. Do you have any thoughts on his play style or why he deserves this award?
I feel like Pac-Man is one of those, because like most of my experience against other professional players is just mostly based in solo queue, and like generally most of the time, Pac-Man was one of those players that like last year you didn't really think much of him, and then like until suddenly it's like suddenly you're playing against him solo queue, it's like, wow, never realized someone could have that much of an impact or like suddenly play really, really well. And I think Lucha also had the same impression on me as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the biggest thing is that, when Abyss qualified, it was through Pabu, and he's a very big carry top laner. And Pac-Man was known as a tank player. I mean, there were lots of, reference between him and Jack Attack. However, he's kind of transcended that now. He's a very good mage player. He's a very good carry player, as well as a tank still. So he added some string to his bows while keeping his old strength.
Yeah, and that was the hardest thing to overcome, and I think that's why he got the award, is because we went from a carry top laner to a passive top laner, had to play around that, and Pac-Man decided, as you saw in the Hecarim game, he didn't care. He could play exactly like Pabu did, even better than he did, and just sort of fit our team really, really well.
Yeah. All right. Well, the next award for your 2016 OPL Awards is the OP, in brackets, L5. And Spawn, why don't you run this through us? These are teams that you and Rusty have put together.
Yeah, so I took Chippy's Carbon, Swiffer, Raze, and Aegium, whilst Rusty took Chippy, Spook, Choo Choo's Lost Rogue. So starting off with my team, I mean, Chippy's had one of the most impressive top lane splits I think I've ever seen. And that's off the back end of a split where Tally went absolutely nuts. And then, of course, Carbon leading his team to another minor premiership. Swiffer, for me, is the most valuable player in the league, although his team didn't have a great split. Raze, I said if I was going to start a team today and I got given an 80 carry, it would be Raze. And Aegium, you just got to have him around because he's a heck of a good time.
I mean, do you guys have any other thoughts on this? I mean, Rusty chose a few different plays. He had Lost in there. Do you have which side of the fence do you guys fall on?
I think Lost is overrated. I know Spawn agrees with me. He's a player with a team of 4 people built around him that just couldn't do it. I know, great. It's not an AD meta. Unlucky. Maybe you should change your play style and play different ADs instead of thinking that it's all the pressure on you.
And the thing is, right, is that I think Lost is a solid player. Don't get me wrong, but he is no way. I heard he lived up to the great man on my right in Raider. I heard, he was taking people from Storm, like the likes of King and the likes of Raze. The Direwolves 80 carries for me have always been so phenomenal. You get to join that rank as well now. I'm just building it up. But, Lost, to me, he was good. He just didn't live up to the hype.
Yeah, really, Rady, let me get your thoughts as well. I mean, if you had to pick an AD carry in the league right now, obviously yourself excluded because you're here at the desk, who are you picking?
I would pick Lost.
Yeah.
I would pick Lost. I think Lost is like, what happened is just meta shifted. You can't hard carry anymore as AD carry. It's very difficult. But he just played with that mentality for so long where the team was built around him.
Have you heard of an AD carry called Deft, by the way? His team just went undefeated in LPL. He does kind of okay in that role.
I know why he picked Lost. Is because he used to be on Chiefs Black.
All right, well, our last award today is going to be the MVP award. This is the best player, the most valuable player in the league, and it is going to go to Big Daddy Carbon, who took his team to a minor premiership for Legacy for this split. Jake, let me start with you. That name, Big Daddy Carbon, I'm taking it from you.
Yeah, the big boss diving into Baron Pits, picking up steals for his team. I mean, Carbon does absolutely everything from making kale shakes in the morning to tucking them into bed at night and winning the minor premiership in between. He is one of the most inspirational people in Oceanic League of Legends, in all honesty. And, Carbon, he had a fantastic split and really did make a name for himself on the Rift. Not just the shot calling, but actually putting big numbers up for himself.
Yeah, Rady, did you have a lot of time to against? I mean, you guys spent playing a lot against Legacy this year. Do you feel like Carbon is a worthy MVP?
I definitely think Carbon is a very worthy MVP. Even last split and then the previous splits before, I always viewed Carbon not as an impactful player. I always view him as an out-of-game impactful player, where he could always hold his team together, hold his team psychology together, really look after the kids, as Jake Swanton really so tastefully said. But really, with the double most improved player, although it's kind of a backhanded compliment because he had a lot of room to improve, but he's really improved now. He's really stepped up, and he's no longer the kind of just out-of-game carry. He's really the in-the-game carry now. And when you see Tally go off, when you see Choose go off, when you see King go off, a lot of that is really on the back of Carbon. And that's why I really think who's really come into his play this split.
All right, well, earlier this week, we spoke to both teams ahead of tonight's game. And before we throw to this, I saw a preview of this video today, and oh my goodness, shots are fired. So if you are a fan of trash talk, of esports drama, or of just good old-fashioned pre-game mouthing off, you do not want to miss this.
I look at all of their players, their summoner names, and it just kind of triggers me a little bit. And every time, I'm looking in Twitch chat, looking over our VODs, and I can see all those little legacy names in the Twitch chat being BM to us and like cheering on the other team, it just gets to me even more.
Chiefs. I hate the Chiefs. I hate the Chiefs as a brand, as a colour, as a logo, as a club. I cannot stand them.
I see Legacy as, I would say, a simple team.
When I think of the Chiefs, I just think of like a sneaky snake. Like they always mind game you. So especially Bryce, he's just someone who will just like rotate mid, and you'll be like, oh, careful mid, but then he's just sitting in the bush. And so when you go to rotate, he's just sitting in there and he kills you. And then everyone's just like, oh, Chiefs cheese again.
What Triple said is actually quite true. When he called Choo Choo's mediocre, he's like, he's a good player, but he's incredibly inconsistent. So like, he has potential to be like really good, and he has potential to just kind of shit the bed.
Maybe I'm just too nice.
This whole, Carbon being the mighty leader, keeping all the kiddies together, being an amazing shot caller, has been overhyped.
Spooks, I think, just wants to be a little bit like me, really. The first couple of times I played him, he was generally pretty quiet on stage. He was just, a regular guy. But over the years, he's kind of just turned into this monkey, just this absolute baboon on stage.
He's Cocoon! He's Cocoon! Kill him!
Yeah! Woo! It's good to just let it all out, I suppose.
I think we'll be on King to carry his team, but we won't be able to.
Chiefs, a team with one carry, just 4 supports.
If I could say something to Carbon before the game, I would say I find it admirable that despite 2 years of losing to us, you haven't retired yet.
Most years I have to talk about form and how good I think we are and whatnot, but this time around, we won everything.
In the middle of every split, we start losing, and Legacy, they just always start talking so much. And it's like, we get to the end of the split, and then we make it to playoffs, we make it to finals, and then we just win anyway.
Shots fired. Oh my goodness. Spawn, you actually were the one interviewing those players for that video. Did you have to prompt them much to get that kind of trash talk out of them?
No, it wasn't hard at all. In fact, the best was kind of raised. We're like, we just want to ask you about the season, build into it, and then then you can start, talking about King. It was just like, Legacy, they're a team that relies on King to carry. He's not going to be able to. I was like, all right, well, let's just pack it up. There we go.
Red, let me ask you, the word of this season, the meme word has been mediocre. It's been thrown around there. Do you feel like that kind of accurately describes some of the players, and how they're trash talking each other?
Yeah, in some ways. I mean, a lot of the time, it just depends on how impactful they are. So, obviously, mediocre implies that they're not impactful, that they're just, not doing anything. So, yeah, it's in a little way, yeah.
Yeah. And Tegan, I want to get your thoughts as well, because we saw Spooks there just going off, right? Yeah. And that's the whole thing. He's a baboon, according to Mr. Carbon. I mean, but I was talking to you today. You were one of the guys who started that, right? Just screaming like an idiot. Yeah?
I still do it. I apologize to my team if they don't like it, but it's great. It gets all of
the point of it, though? Is
the pent-up stress.
Are you trying to intimidate your opponent as well by yelling at them?
Well, when they're next to you, sure. But I do it at home as well, just because it gets rid of all that stress, all the worry.
When you're alone in your room playing solo queue,
I don't even
have
to be playing games.
You just lying in bed.
Imagine there's someone I don't like there.
All right, well, that video will be available later on our social media, so you can check it on for that. If you're watching at home or elsewhere and want to follow on along that hashtag on Twitter and Facebook, is #IamOPL. Same as it's been for years now. Get involved. We're actually running a competition today. We'd love to know how you're watching. So take a selfie, in fact, with the stream in the background. You get bonus points for including this sweet face in the There will be prizes for the best ones. Check out our Twitter as well, at @lol_Oceania for details. But right now, let us take a look at the teams. We start with the Chiefs, the defending champions and 3-time winners. We have Swiper in the top lane, Spooks in the jungle, Swiffer in the mid lane, Raze as the AD carry. A late addition trade for the Chiefs, and E-Jim playing support. Let me get you guys' thoughts. I'm going to start with you, Ray dear. Raze, the new AD carry. Do you think that's going to impact how Chiefs kind of work as a team, given that they haven't had a lot of time to play with each other?
I think with 3 weeks, it is enough time to really get an AD carry to kind of meld with the team. However, I think the biggest issue that he'll have coming into this is because he's a rookie, he won't be used to playing on stage, and we'll see how that affects his performance.
He's no Derek Radier training.
No, he's not.
Is that what they're saying is now? I think that the biggest thing, however, is, they brought in Raze. He's 1 rookie, sure, but he's still propped up by 4 very experienced individuals. And that's where I'm looking at for the Chiefs. I mean, when you have a look down the line, they've got pretty much the most experienced person in their role in every position but AD carry at the moment. And I think that experience, it's huge on LAN. I mean, there definitely is a difference between online players and LAN players, especially when you put an audience in front of them. And the Chiefs always have been that. They do step up when the pressure is on.
Tigon, do you have like a specific weakness you can point to in this Chiefs lineup? I mean, not to call out anyone specific, but how do you think they're going to lose if they're going to lose?
I'll happily call them out. I think right now, Swipe is the weakest point in the roster.
Whoa.
He can't cultivate his own lead. He doesn't kill people on his own. He needs Spooks to do it, which is fine. It's a team game. So you just call Spooks up like they did against Direwolves, unlucky Raider, and they kill top lane twice in a row. And then he does the great thing. He cultivates his own lead. He builds on it. He builds on it. He builds on it, and he can carry games. But he can't do the first step. And that's sort of a problem. Other than that, they're just a strong team.
All right, well, that is the Chiefs, their opponents. Legacy, your split 2 minor premiers. Let's take a look at their lineup. It's Tally in the top lane, Carbon in the jungle, Choo-Choo's in mid lane, King as AD carry, and Kuden in support. Let me start with you, Spawn. This team is the first time we're seeing Legacy as a full-strength team in a final. Obviously, last year, King getting banned. I mean, are you excited to see this team kind of to pull together finally?
I think everyone's excited to see them finally get 5 men on Summoner's Rift and, really take over. I think that we look down at their bottom lane, they're probably one of the most improved bottom lanes across this split in the league. I mean, your boy King as well as Kuden down there, they're really making waves at the moment. I think that Kuden was kind of underrated and slept on a lot, and then came out in the semi-finals and had an absolutely classy performance against Avant-Garde. So lots of pressure on the newer members. They are quite young, and we'll see whether they can step up on LAN and really take it to the Raze Asian bottom lane.
Yeah, I mean, Raider, you've obviously played against Legacy. They managed to beat you guys out, or both of your teams out for minor premiership. Where do you see their strengths in this final tonight?
I really see their strengths. Stylistically, Legacy have always been a very top side focus. So really, Carbon's really good at facilitating Tally to get ahead. And even in the lane swap meta, you'll see that the moment you get any sort of freeze, Tally will go straight there. They'll try to cultivate as much lead on Tally as he possibly can, because Tally, I think, like Tigon said, is really good at cultivating his lead and pushing for victories. And a lot of times you'll see that, especially I think in this final of the last bit, Tally was a monster. He actually went off. So I really want to see Tally to step up this in a series against Chiefs, and I really want to see how Chiefs will play with the new bottom lane.
I think you got to look to Choo-Choo's as well. He performs really, really well in high pressure situations. Because to be quite honest, he was mediocre over the season. He was really inconsistent. That's okay because you have such a great team around you to pick up for your faults. But in the semis, he looked great, and he's always looked great in high-pressure situations, so I want to see him perform really well and just sort of knock that out of the park and tell people, I'm not mediocre, I'm the best.
I also think Choo's got a little bit patched in. And I've always said this about Choo's. When it's Choo's meta, he is the best mid laner in the comp. I mean, when the Cassiopeia comes back, when Syndra was his big pick, when Zed and Yasuo were running around Summoner's Rift, the guy was absolutely going nuts. Control Mages certainly didn't suit him as much as it suited other mid laners, but now we're back to the likes of Vladimir. I really do think that you're exactly right. Choo-Choo's is one of those players that if it is his day, he will be able to take over.
All right, well, let's talk about the map and how we're going to be seeing this playing out. I want you all to think about, where is this place that this game is going to be decided? Let me start with you, Tigon.
Mid and jungle, most likely. That's my big thing. You look at Swiffer from Chiefs, he's probably what made them come in top 3. He pulled them over the line. They were looking pretty dismal at points in the season, and he dragged them kicking and screaming. Like King said, they're 1 carry and 4 supports. That's not true. But he worked really hard, and that's where it's going to be. It's going to be the mid pick, it's going to be the jungle pick. What do they pick? Can they 2v2? Or do they have to play it passive? That's where they're going to look, that's where their draft will be.
I I really want to see, like, once again, like, going back in Tegan, I really want to see, let's see if Swiffer can go off on his day. I mean, like, Swiffer wasn't as proactive as he was against the series against us, against Star Wars. And obviously, he didn't have a great performance on Victor. But on the likes of Talia, on the likes of Twisted Fate even, he might even pull that out. He just goes off. I mean, like, most of the time, Chiefs' victories is get Swiffer ahead, and Swiffer will get rest of the lanes ahead, and they'll win the game.
See, I'm a big football fan, AFL, and Spooks is the best tagger in the comp. And what I mean by that, he's like kind of the guy that just follows around a superstar and shuts them down. And Carbon is that superstar on Legacy. I want to see if he can just annoy them enough to really, I guess, take Carbon off his game.
All right, well, obviously League of Legends is a team game, but sometimes it just takes one player to decide a match. So we've put our heads together and picked out one player from each team who we think, if they go off, that is what matters. First up, let's look at the Chiefs, and let's talk a little bit about Swiffer. Now, Jake, you have a very strong opinion on Swiffer right now.
Yeah, Swiffer is historically the best player in the comp ever. I mean, with all due respect to Raider, who's sitting next to him, I think he had a lot of help from a certain Twisted Fate player in the mid lane that was really popping off. I mean, when you saw him join Immunity from XR5, that was the glory days of the Chiefs as a whole, and I really do think that, you know, people sleep on him a lot, but he's a great in-game leader. When the Chiefs are playing their best, Swiffer is carrying.
Yeah, Raider, what was he like to play with when you were spending time with him? I mean, what are his strengths, what are his weaknesses, and how does he go off?
I mean, as a Chiefs, classically, we were basically a macro team. And when we didn't know how to macro, we didn't have a clue. So thus, no Swiffer, no clue. And he was basically, when I was on the Chiefs, he was basically a shot caller. If he wasn't shot calling, we didn't know what to do. We would try to do certain things, and it just wouldn't work out. And we did have a really dismal split until he came back last split. But what Swiffer brings besides just pure statistics, he does bring a lot of things outside the game, where he can say, okay, you know, out of nowhere, like, we're just losing. I was like, this is what we're going to do. And then suddenly, we're just back in the game we've won.
That's probably why he did really well when he was just hard carrying. Because if he's a shot caller and he's the one that's fed, he knows exactly where his limits are. He knows where he can and can't go. That's also why he probably does well on, like was said before, Twisted Fate and other roaming supports. Because if you can go off and you're shot calling, your team knows what's going to happen. You know, all right, we got to be here. And he's going to set that up and make it work.
All right, well, it is no surprise that for Legacy, our X-Factor player is also this split's MVP, their captain and jungler, Carbon. Now, we've already spoken a fair bit about Carbon, how he's an impactful player both on and off the field. Let me ask you guys a question. Like, Tegan, how has he improved over this split? Because you were saying you want him to be the best improved 3 years in a row. Let me talk about differences between early split and late split Carbon for you.
It's just a matter of perfecting everything that he's doing. He's looked shaky at times. Don't get me wrong. He's the greatest player that I've seen for quite a while in terms of just overall full package thing. He's great out of the game. He's great in the game. He does everything well. This split, highest jungle camps taken from the enemy side, so he's always invading. And it's really hard to play when you have 3 pushing lanes. Sometimes you just go into this farm mode where you're not very effective. So he's in the other lane. He's pushing them out. Like you said, Spooks might be able to nullify that by just annoying him and stopping that. But that shows he's ready to be aggressive. He's ready to take chances. And I always say it's better to take way too many chances than take none. Because if you take no chances, you just slowly lose games. And that's just a horrible way to play.
Yeah, I mean...
I think the other thing is that when you have a look at Legacy, people talk about their 3 carries. And I'm a big fan of, if you're talking about all 3 carry lanes, then the jungler or support is doing something incredibly well. And with all due respect to Kuden, who did get much better later in the split, there was a reason that Legacy was still winning early in the split. And it's because even through substitutes, through, Kulo playing, through Minky playing, it really was just Carbon, once again, pretty much solo carrying early games for his team.
Yeah.
I mean, like, when you have, as a carry, if you don't have support from your support or your jungle, it's really hard to kind of just siphon resources to yourself, get yourself ahead. I mean, it's really hard to 1v3 at this level of play. And what actually improved most about Carbon from last split, I would say, although it might sound underrated as a jungler, I think his mechanics have actually really improved. I mean, back then, like in 2015, when I thought of Carbon, I thought, good jungler, no mechanics.
We are but moments away from throwing to the actual games, and there is still time for Carbon to get banned, as is...
No, please no.
But before we do that, I want to grab your guys' predictions. I want who you think's going to win and what you think the games are going to be. Let me start with you, Tegan.
Yeah, so knowing that there's 2 Chiefs apologists here, I mean, you might be on the direwolves, but come on. I'm going to go Legacy 3-1 and just prepare myself for what's going to be a really brutal roast.
Yeah.
I don't like you spoiling things, but yes, I am going for Chiefs. I think it'll be a Chiefs 3-1. However, I do think that whoever wins the first game is just going to win, because psychologically it is so difficult. Like, I know the Chiefs, it is so difficult to come back from it just being down.
I think that this patch is really going to speed up the gameplay, and that it's very, very snowbally in my opinion. So I think that this is going to be a 3-0. I think that it's going to be the Chiefs that pick it up. In saying that, if this goes to a best of 5, if it goes to 5 games, I think that Carbon and Legacy are mentally tougher than the Chiefs right now. So if it does go down to the wire, as it has in the past, I do not think the Chiefs win. I think Legacy pick
So you're
it up.
hedging?
No, I'm not hedging. I'm saying it's a 3-0. Did you not listen to that?
Then you just qualified saying it could be a 3-2.
I said if it's a 3-2, the 3 goes to Legacy. As a moth just attacked me as well.
Last split, it was 2-2, and what happened? It was Chiefs vs Legacy 2-all.
Yeah.
What happened in the 5th game?
You picked up a pentakill. They
Exactly.
don't have you anymore.
That's all I wanted to hear. That's all I wanted to hear. So I agree with you since I'm not in that team anymore.
I mean, can I ask you, Tegan, you're the only one on this desk so far who's gone hard for Legacy. But let me flip it around. Under what circumstances do Chiefs beat Legacy then? What needs to happen for that to occur in your mind?
I actually think Spawn's right, and if Chiefs are going to win, it's going to be a 3-0.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to win a close series. I think if they're going to win, they just start snowballing early in the series, get first blood, get the first game, and Legacy, their nerves on land might show. I spoke to their coach, and he said there's no nerve issues. Everyone's great.
Of course he's going to say that. He's not going to tell you,
exactly,
oh, we're nervous.
right? He's not going to divulge that to me. But I think that's the only way Legacy loses, if Chiefs just start a steamroll early and don't let up.
And the problem is that now it's standard lanes on the current patch.
Sure.
I mean, lane swaps just don't exist. And it is so much easier for Spooks to do his job in standard lanes. I cannot, that is the biggest thing to me about this. I mean, I honestly think that Carbon got a little bit screwed on the patch because he was such a good double jungler and then a good turret diver and securing freezes for his teams. However, that is no longer a viable strategy in League of Legends, and Soulstrike's better have prepared the team well.
All right, well, that is just about enough from us here at the Analyst Desk. We'll be back in between games to give you all the answers to what happened, and I'll be listening to their wisdom. But get hype, because we're about to throw to the arena and see our players enter and get into Game 1.
Wally, the only damage left. Swimmer. Oh my gosh. How is he still alive? And Wally's dead. The Nexus turret's under fire. Now, massive 3-man knockup. Carbon bouncing around this fight, but Juice still alive. Flashes his way out. Tides of blood. Paradise. Juice gets the majority of his health bar back. King picks up the kill. And this is going to be a Game 3 victory for Legacy. As the ultimate flying through for Raid, shuts down Radiant with the longest knot I have ever seen. The Chiefs looking to try and just take down the Nexus. Chiefs say all we want is that Grand Final, and the Chiefs will be joining Legacy in Brisbane.
Welcome to the 2016 OPL Grand Final. First, the reigning and defending OPL champions, the Chiefs. Making their way to the stage, the current OPL Legend title holders, Legacy Esports.
my goodness, Carbon holding up that OPL Legend belt, looking so intimidating. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Courier Mail Piazza here in beautiful Brisbane. I'm, of course, Max Atlas Anderson, joined by Zach Rusty Pie. How you doing, man?
Fantastic. Happy to be in the home state of Queensland once again, but the crowd speaks for itself here. This place is awesome.
You guys are incredible as well. Hope you guys are having fun at home at the same time. And it's happened again, Rusty. It's another Chiefs Legacy final. But there's some fire in the air. Of course, the first time that it's been the full Legacy roster here in the OPL.
Absolutely right. We look at the history of these teams, just the OPL finals in general. We've had the Chiefs in every single one. Legacy in the last three. We've gone from 3-0 to 3-1 to 3-2 victories for the Chiefs. Could this be the one?
Yeah, I don't know. Is it going to go to 3-3? Not entirely sure, but let's have a look at the Chiefs lineup first, as it is going to be Swipey. You can see him right there on the top side of the map. Spooks is going to be in the jungle. Swiffer in the mid lane. Raze is the AD carry, taking over from good old Radier, and Ejim as well in that support position. And the Chiefs looking dominant, but that late switch of Raze has raised some eyebrows.
A very big question mark taints this team right now. They've got Raze. They want him to be an international star for the team, but they have to get to that international stage first. And no further ado, let's actually just move over to Legacy and go through their roster. We've got Tally in the top lane. Fantastic top laner in his own right. Their jungler Carbon holding that title. He was so confident himself.
Oh, yeah.
That's a team with Shoes in the middle lane, no longer mediocre. AD carry King support Kuden.
Yeah, and Kuden actually is a player that I really want to talk about as well, because Kuden's performance in their semi-final against AV was unbelievable. This guy really made a name for himself, and that is exactly the time when you want to do it now moving into the grand final.
You can see them on your screen now, and you're absolutely right. Kuden's the young blood of the team, much like Raze is for the Chiefs. But this performer actually shows up massive on a semi-final stage, and we'll see if he can replicate that again in the final setting at this live venue in Brisbane, because it's even more daunting now than it was before.
Yeah, most certainly is. And of course, he's across from Ejim as well. And we know he's the king of bans, fantastic, hilarious, but he's also ridiculously powerful when he gets his hands on any of these engaged-based supports, and that is not Kuden's style.
Not at all. Very much conflicting styles between these teams. People look at the Chiefs and Legacy's bottom lanes as a lineup and say that the Chiefs have a massive advantage. They've got the aggression now with Raze there. Ejim's always going forward, always trying to find those engages, but it's just a different style when you look at Legacy.
Yeah.
King might be aggressive. He plays like he's got a Soraka with him in every single game, but Kuden's able to facilitate that strength, let him be aggressive and move forward as the one-man unit.
And I think the other place where it really differs is in that jungle, of course. We've been talking about Carbon a lot this evening, the man picking up the MVP here in the OPL, and well-deserved at the same time. But him and Spooks, very different style. Of course, Carbon invades more than any other jungler. Averages 25 creeps in the enemy jungle taken, and Spooks is, of course, second, but he's only on 22.
Yeah, that's absolutely the thing between these teams. Carbon always wants to go in. Spooks is happy to trade and maybe just disappear and go to the other areas.
Yeah, and of course does like to keep his eye on the enemy jungler if he can at the same time. So we'll see whether he can do that, because Carbon's a hard man to lock down. As we are into Champion Select for game number 1 of the grand final of OPL Split 2. Legacy versus Chiefs. We wouldn't have it any other way, or don't really know it any other way, to be perfectly honest with you, Rusty. As already LeBlanc, Talia being banned away. We were going to talk about this because we were expecting the bans to be relatively mid-lane focused. So far, 100%.
Yeah, I was hoping it'd speak for itself. Naturally, LeBlanc, Talia, Vladimir, all mid-lane champions. Swiffer and Choo-Choos have the exact same champion pool when it comes to that. So focusing each other out means there's not going to be a whole lot left available for them.
Yeah, and actually the Gragas is going to go. Legacy banned that one away. It's interesting because, of course, Carbon played it in his last 6 games. The man is more than happy to get on the fat barrel-toting guy.
Yeah, and they get rid of the Talia and the Gragas at the same time, so that's one of the big combos that the Chiefs have. No chance of them seeing that now, and Legacy getting rid of one of Carbon's champions maybe defaults to something like that Rek'Sai, because he basically plays every champion like it's Rek'Sai.
Yeah, exactly right. As Jhin is going to be the final ban there for the Chiefs. Of course, Raze plays a phenomenal Jhin, but just very strong at the moment in general. And there's the Cassiopeia. We were talking about the shared champion pools of these mid laners. That is certainly one of them. Choo-Choos, he's the one that debuted here in the OPL, but Swiffer has a 100% win rate on the champion over 4 games.
Yeah, both incredible Cassiopeia players, and yeah, Choo-Choos has definitely stepped up to the plate. Took one of the big remaining mid-lane options. Naturally, there is still the Victor that you can go towards if you're Swiffer. No real need to lock that one in yet, however. What we do see is a ridiculously good first pick for Legacy.
Yeah, you most certainly do, and we'll see exactly what Swiffer is going to take into it. Still definitely a few options. Malzahar probably not being one of them, as he has been touched on this patch. And that shield is not going to be as effective as Swiper, of course, hovering Tryndamere, his favorite champion. He's not going to play that.
It's usually the Tryndamere and the Alawi, and then he locks in the actual champion. Of course, we'll very rarely see him even want to play Tryndamere anymore. It's no longer a tank.
Yeah.
And he plays only tanks.
And Aurelia, well, Gnar is actually going to be picked up here, and there's the Karma, possibly for Swiffer. I wouldn't like to see Ejim on. It doesn't feel like an Ejim champion, but definitely strong couple of picks here for the Chiefs, but maybe showing their hand a little bit early.
And that's because it's not an Ejim champion, right? Plain and simple. We've got ourselves Swiffer's champion right here, and I will be surprised if it is anywhere else. The Gnar also has the ability to team fight, can split push, should be able to combat what Tally will have to offer regardless of what he plays now. However, Aurelia is quite good into Gnar and should be considered here as a pickup for Tally.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. And Swiper has been showing such fantastic games on the Aurelia at the same time. It's interesting that he'd pick a champion that has struggled in the matchup. But we'll see what Legacy decide to take now that they have their next couple of picks. We'll see whether they stick on the short range. Of course, Cassiopeia are not necessarily known for long range. It's Carbon and Choose now to make up their minds.
They could just go for their support jungle pick here and not reveal anything unless they have a particular strategy that revolves around the Cassiopeia, and this is one of them.
Well, it is going to be King on the Lucian. He's come to play in game number 1. Of course, you heard Raze, the guy that just said, well, King just can't carry. And it was pretty short. We'll see what it's going to be as Urgot gets a bit of a cheer. As Raze now thinking about the Twitch, but Carbon back on the Rek'Sai, of course, does like to play anyone like it's Rek'Sai.
Yeah, absolutely. So gets the best champion for Carbon. Also, King getting that Lucian works with the Cassiopeia. Mentioned before very briefly that it is a composition thing, and the way that it works is you stand behind the Cassiopeia as the Lucian, and you're always going to be safe and able to do damage and output to the closest possible person.
Yeah, and we'll see exactly what the Chiefs decide to pick up in order to augment this team composition that's already come through with both of their solo laners, most likely in that Karma and the Gnar. And I guess the danger that you could possibly have here is, you know, not necessarily enough damage. Gnar likes to build a lot of, I guess, utility with the Frozen Mallet, things like that. Oh, wait, don't worry, we're back into Champion Select, and it is going to be Graves and Sivir. So that damage question out the window.
Yeah, here, like, damage, the Chiefs have it basically everywhere. Even the Karma went ahead, does a lot of damage and needs to be respected. The Chiefs team composition now has fantastic output in multiple areas. They have multiple strategies they can put in place now. Raw team fighting with the Gnar when he hits Mega, or 1-3-1 split pushing.
Well, now you can see Legacy to make up their minds. Braum going very far through this draft. Did slight nerfs, I guess, hit Braum, but I mean, a little bit less damage on his Winter's Bite and less damage on his passive. Not going to do anything. Still stuns you after 4 auto attacks, which is busted. So he's still going to be hovered here for Legacy. We'll see whether Kuden decides to pick it up. Looking very confident as you see the man on your screen, but moves back to the Trundle. His pillar placement in the semi-final was God tier, and here's Tally's Aurelia at the same time. Legacy, they've come to play today.
We said it was good into Gnar, so not a surprise to see the Aurelia there, but it is great to see Tally picking that one up for himself. He is a dangerous carry player, especially for some reason against the Chiefs. It just kind of happens.
I feel like he just gets a little bit riled up. Of course, we know the rivalry. This is Chiefs versus Legacy. And if anything's going to set him off, he's a Riven player. I mean, just generally, you're a little bit angry when you're a Riven player.
He actually even tweeted today saying just having fans around or the crowd here actually just amps him up and he can see himself getting the W.
Well, we'll see whether what he sees is actually going to come true as the Chiefs looking to round out their roster. Will be, I guess, theoretically either a mid laner or a support, but we're expecting to see a support here, Rusty.
We certainly are. The Braum being hovered could have been Kuden's onus to Ejim, saying, do we take it from him? Of course, the Karma can still be flexed. Would be shocked to see it done.
Wow, it is going to be, unless that's a Gnar support. Haven't seen that one before. Yeah, Gnar, okay, good. Lissandra is going to be locked in for Swiffer, though, there in the mid lane, so taking that into Choose. So a lot of AoE, CC, and damage coming out of both of these mid laners.
Yeah, that's actually huge. So the Lissandra pick actually locks down what the Chiefs can do as a comp now. They've got fantastic chase. They can engage on you incredibly well with the Sivir and Karma combo where they speed you up and you just move at incredible speeds. And if there's one thing a Gnar needs, it's actually to go fast so that he can catch you.
Yeah.
And they're very much a flash-reliant team, though. So every time that flash is available, the Chiefs will want to 5v5.
Yeah, and this is actually a really old strategy. We've seen Lissandra Gnar picked up across the world, and it was possibly about a year ago now, something like that, maybe a little bit less because my memory's terrible, but Lissandra Gnar has always been something that works out very, very well, just because you can layer so much AoE, and if you get that big Gnar on Swiper into a wall, then there's a high likelihood everyone just dies with Graves, Sivir, and Lissandra to follow up with the damage.
Yeah, pretty much. You hit one, you hit both. The Chiefs' team composition is very much dangerous, Atlas, but Legacy do have an answer with the Cass.
They most certainly do, and they've also got such powerful lanes as well in the fact that that Lucian able to do so much damage early on. And we've been saying it a lot, the word damage, but both of these teams ready to go really hard in game number 1 here of our grand final. And we want to hear from you. Use that hashtag LGCWin if you're a member of the Legacy Legion. Or use the hashtag CHFWin if you want to see the Chiefs take home another W. Legacy have been getting closer and closer each time. And we'll see whether this is the time to topple the Chiefs or whether the Chiefs can make their way overseas once more.
I have to say, this feels like it's going to be the closest final that we've ever had in Oceania between Legacy and Chiefs.
I'm certainly ready, as the players are too. We're onto the Rift for game number 1. Choose and Carbon holding hands, moving out onto the Rift. And of course, 6.15 means there aren't going to be any lane swaps.
Yeah, they both have tails.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
That completely threw me off my little groove I had going there, Rusty.
Nailed it.
I like it, but it is going to be the 5-point defense system. King waiting in his brush up here, and we'll see whether any early shenanigans are going to come down as Egypt misses. Of course, that first point of damage is incredibly important.
Well, it's the motivator if you hit the first piece of damage with the Karma's Q. The second one will naturally connect. You can see King placing that ward was a sign that he doesn't actually want to be there, trying to hide himself and his support in Kuden. They may be just kind of baiting a lane swap out of the Chiefs, but no one lane swaps anymore.
No.
And so that's out of the window. Realistically, we're just going to have people hitting each other at level 1.
Just don't want to see that late invade.
Minions
See whether anyone's going to come over and steal their chickens. You don't want that.
Also starting on the same side of the map here, Spooks and Carbon, blue side and red respectively, working with their top laners. And we'll have to pay attention to how they path themselves, whether they want to get the full strength gank onto the bottom lane with the max experience gain, or if they want to change it up halfway recall and maybe gank somewhere unexpected.
And is that something we're expecting here out of either Legacy or the Chiefs at the moment, that bottom lane focus?
I mean, what I will say is the bottom lane focus for Legacy is quite important. The Chiefs don't exactly need to go down there. Raze is a massive carry, though.
We are going to have a slight pause here in game number 1 as the crowd goes wild. It's absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for the support, everyone, as laning phase, not quite to get underway. Minions have crashed in the mid lane, but so far, not too much. We can actually talk about the 2v2 because we saw the hover of the Braum, and Braum Lucian is something that's incredibly strong.
Yeah, it is.
But now with the Trundle, is that going to struggle here against Karma Sivir?
One of the unique things that the Trundle will actually have is you can place the pillar down, and if it connects, Sivir can't spell shield anything realistically. She's actually just stuck on the other side of the pillar, and the Lucian's able to dash forward, do all of his damage. The 2v2 with the Braum naturally is going to be better, especially against a Karma when you can block all of the damage. Same thing with the Sivir Boomerang. But if you play it right, and we know Kuden's a fantastic Trundle, I think you'll find that 2v2 fairly evenly matched. It just comes down to how they play it out.
Well, we'll see whether they are going to be able to play it out well. Looking across the lanes, however, we're seeing a bit of a theme here for the Chiefs because they can clear minions extraordinarily quickly, especially on that bottom side of the map, utilizing Karma as well as Sivir. Could this be a strategy here to try and shove things out, try and get that first turret as quickly as possible, something like that, free up some space?
Entirely possible, and the big question is which lane they're going to focus, because a Sivir and a Karma, when they get levels and move speed that comes out of both of them having those levels, you might actually see them go towards the middle lane, where Lissandra is actually able to engage for them and get that kill. The same thing applies with the Mega Nut. So they have two options that they could attack. Legacy need to be quite careful and quite vigilant with where they're going to be past that 5-minute point.
Yeah, and we've just found out, ladies and gentlemen, that it is a slight audio issue in-game. We will have it resolved as soon as possible and get us back onto the Rift for game number 1 here for this grand final. And already, things getting intense. No shots to be fired and land on either side, but Egypt has thrown out 2 Qs. I'm just excited to see what will happen after that first blood, after that first move that one of these teams has made, because it's going to be so important. The desk mentioned momentum. Both of these teams need that for this game.
Absolutely right. Spawn said it himself. It's quite snowbally at the moment when you look at Summoner's Rift in 6.15 and beyond. The first turret blood, or the first structure bonus, as I'm from now on going to call it instead, is very important. 400 gold. If it coincides with a Rift Herald afterwards, you'll find it a massive strength on your top laner, who's able to take away the game. Swiper can solo carry for his team, as can Tally if they get that ball rolling.
Yeah, they most certainly can, and we'll see which one is going to be able to take that, because we're talking about form heading into this series, and it's very, very interesting looking at the paths for both of these teams, because Legacy came off a 3-0 victory against Avant. Very impressive when they did so, but just before that, it was 1-2 against the Direwolves. Direwolves looking fantastic against the team, and it was a little bit of a worrying sign.
And then the Chiefs could just go and 3-0 them. So where is the relative power? Where does the ranking go? I don't even know where to really stack these.
You have to look towards Legacy's coaching staff and say that after that first night where they actually lost to the Direwolves 2-0, they came back the next day and beat them in the next game. So they reset, they set themselves up for success as best they possibly could and found their weaknesses, either hid the weaknesses or played towards their strengths, and ended up working out the identity that their team's going to have.
Yeah, exactly right. So we'll see whether they are going to be able to build on that and bring it here. And look, as far as how both of these teams won their games in the semifinals as well, it's actually important to look back because 6.15, very, very different. Legacy were brutal in their movements around the map, especially early on. It looked like they were born for this patch.
You know, I had a conversation with Tally the other day, and he said, if I go 0-2, I usually win the game, which goes to show how Legacy are currently winning League of Legends at the moment. It's actually through their middle lane Choo-Choos, who's stepped up massive, and through their bottom lane in their AD carry King, who has done the exact same thing. He's really made his mark now in the semi-finals run. Tally can go off. Tally can carry, but he doesn't even have to anymore. And that's the beautiful thing of it, whereas you look at the Chiefs, they're all just firing.
Yeah, well, the thing that's really scary about Legacy when you talk about it like that is the fact that now Tally's playing Aurelia. So even if he goes 0-2, he'll beat Aurelia in the late game. It won't even matter. And you're talking about the cannons of Legacy being Choo-Choos and King.
Yeah.
Well, they're on Lucian and Cassiopeia. If there's damage potential, I mean, those two champions pretty damn good in that department.
Yep. And the Lucian can also kite away from the Gnar. When you look at the engage, he actually has mobility there, whereas Sivir just presses the R button and screams really loudly and tries to run quite fast away from the enemies. Isn't always going to work if they get onto you in the first place. Not only that, they've got the Cassiopeia on the side of Legacy, which means the W will keep you grounded. You can't flash to safety, so if you're caught, you are definitely dead.
The thing that I really like about what the Chiefs have done against the Cassiopeia, though, is, yeah, you can't dash or use any displacement moves, but you can run exceptionally fast. That's fine over Miasma, and they've got both the Karma and the Sivir in order to do that. And this is a team that does want to set up for CC. So as far as that 5v5, do you think Chiefs have an edge?
It's very much down to execution. So firstly, there's a cleanse on Choo-Choos on his Cassiopeia.
Yeah,
they have engaged in the way of Lysandra, and nothing really else there is hard crowd control besides the Gnar. So they do need both of those collective members of their solo lanes there if they're going to catch somebody out. They try and focus mid. Swiffer has to play it incredibly well to not stack up his crowd control to ensure they catch him. It's entirely possible that the Chiefs can make that work. Very unrealistic, though, against just the one person, so they need everyone there.
Yeah, the thing that scares me as well is the fact that the Chiefs probably don't necessarily need all that much help in any of their lanes either, because if they need to, just shove them out. They've got a heck of a lot of wave clear in all of their lanes, and it's almost like Spooks can now put on his tracking device and just try and find Carbon, which is what he wants to do all of the time anyway.
Yeah, he's just going to try and be Carbon's shadow. Doesn't want him there, but he always is.
Well, we are back into the game, ladies and gentlemen. For game number one, as Kuden takes a bunch of damage here from Ejim, who's being a bully on the bottom side of the map. Verbally, and of course, now figuratively.
Yeah, Sivir Karma have a lot of poke damage that they can put down. Sivir hits the minions and indirectly hits you, which is quite frustrating to deal with, but nonetheless, you can see the Chiefs with absolute control of their bottom lane. And this is a big deal when you look at how Carbon plays League of Legends. He wants to be invading, wants to be going forwards, but if Chiefs are winning lanes and he does go forwards, he gets collapsed on.
Yeah, and of course, Legacy do like to rely on having pushing lanes as well, due to the fact that, yeah, Carbon wants to get amongst it, wants to get inside the enemy jungle, and you can't run out of the way if there's like a big minion wave stacked up on your turret, because you need to eat those red dots. There's money in them.
It definitely is. Red dots do provide you with your source of income when you're a carry. Maybe not as a support, you're looking for wards.
Well now, Raze and Ejim continue pushing up. Thankfully, Legacy's bottom lane have made it to level 2. Level 3 now for Raze as Carbon is positioned on the bottom side. Spooks as this Graves. Not a lot of mana, but does now have a blue buff. The A-OK. Carbon doesn't quite find the Prey Seeker, and now Spooks is going to find him. Bullets go in. Red buff is slowing him down. End of the line. Doesn't get the second tick, but Carbon has to tunnel away. There's going to be Rift Scuttle Vision now claimed by the Chiefs jungler, and Spooks is ready to party this game. Another thing to mention, First Dragon's going to be Infernal. There is so much action to happen.
That's right, the Fire Drake's going to be there. And the first small victory for Spook starting to spill over more and more. Carbon trying to take too much of his own jungle. Spooks is making him pay for it.
Yeah, it is going to be the smite used by Carbon. Does secure himself that Raptor camp. One little popcorn chicken going over to Spooks. Throws down his W. We'll just run around a little bit faster, but Ejim with a lot of damage onto King. Kuden now could get snared up. The minions are helping out here, but good pillar does get the disengage in favor of Legacy.
Yeah, Legacy aren't going to die, of course, whenever Trundle has that pillar up and can run away as Spooks is just being a pest. Talk about tagging the jungler of Legacy.
Yeah, fine.
He's about to fight him
here as well. This blue buff's in trouble. End of the line comes in. Flash from Earthblood, and Spooks locks it down.
Spooks does not relent in this jungle right now. Finds him on the other side, says, well, he's a blue buff. Time to make him pay for it once again. That first blood is really important for momentum for the Chiefs jungler. Spooks, no doubt, was yelling his heart out.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, that's a 3-buff start as well. Chiefs in a very good position. Of course, no flash now available for Spooks, but he's going to be more than happy with that. Now, once again, Pillar goes down. They're looking to lock up Ejim, who takes a fair bit of damage. Kuden as well, and they're just fighting a minion wave.
Yeah, that's the way Sivir does things towards you as well. Every time it crashes under the turret, you can throw down your damage onto them, or you can just try and take that structure out. Remember the importance of the first turret blood. And so every bit of damage you put down onto those objectives is very beneficial.
Yeah, well, Swiffer going to teleport onto some miasma here. Now has himself a Negatron cloak. Isn't going to be too worried about Chu's damage. Isn't going to have a lot of damage himself. Now Tali and Swipe, we're just going to check in with the top lane. Are you expecting too much action here, Russell?
I'm honestly not expecting a whole lot. Of course, Aurelia does do well into that matchup. You can burst the Gnar out when he's in mini form. Just go through the minion wave and get towards him. But I'm looking more at the first recall for the top lane when there's a sheen there for Tali on that Aurelia.
Well, he's actually going to recall right now, so you may have your wish this instant. Heads back home. We'll see exactly what he wants to pick up. That's going to be the sheen. Rusty the Prophet
blow.
still here.
Tali top lane.
Your first test, and you passed it. Fantastic. Carbon now is going to clear out this Rift Scuttler on the top side, now trying to get himself back into this game, into the swing of things.
And the enemy jungle, coincidentally, placing vision because Spooks just keeps coming into his.
Well, he's going to be spotted out. The Spooks quick draws over. Looking for Choose. There's the claw. Swiffer has level 6. Choose doesn't. It's a decent opportunity, but no flash going to be burned here by the Chiefs mid laner.
He's pathing actually out of Spooks to try and get in that bush unnoticed. Of course, Choose being level 5 doesn't matter too much. Swiffer wasn't in range after that claw to find any kind of kill there. But speaking for them,
oh, Spooks, that is so rude.
All of your jungle. Yeah. All of it.
Just smites away the Toad. And heads back to calm down. He does. You can see Swiper, he's actually going towards what looks like the Frozen Mallet build. What's your personal favorite? Do you like Black Cleaver or Frozen Mallet?
I'm a Black Cleaver guy, but it depends if you want to speed yourself up or slow them down. It really is a matter of preference. Aurelia, if you can kite her, then you can do well. Yep. There's no minion wave. I would say arguably the Frozen Mallet is more valuable.
He's going to find Ejim, but the snare's going to come in. Swiffer down as well. Look at the damage as Swiffer gets exhausted. Nice time bought by Legacy as he ults himself. Massive ultimate from Choose at the same time, but no one dead just yet. Swiper makes himself in there as Tali takes so much damage. Kuden now in the brush. He's going to be fine for the moment. There's the pillar to come down as well, but Hyper goes off. Swiper wants it. He's going really far in, but almost has Mega Gnar. Chiefs do back away in the end. Oh, that was close.
That was super close to getting any kind of kill at all, but nobody goes down, and just blinking health bars to be seen. A lot was actually burnt for it. Chiefs still with control of Summoner's Rift as an end result, and lucky for Legacy that Choo Choo's hits that ultimate. I think it could have looked quite bad.
Yeah. Swiffer, of course, nice work to dodge it with his own ultimate, but the exhaust timing from Kuden was just fantastic.
Yeah, it stops Swiffer from wanting to use his ultimate at all, ends up self-casting it afterwards. Wasn't the most impactful ultimate, but it was timed well to not get stunned by the Cassiopeia.
Well, Ejim now waiting in the brush. King.
He's cheesing.
There he goes. There's actually getting the health back from the W. I love Mantra W. That's fantastic.
Yeah, of course, by doing this, by sitting in that bush, Kuden's able to recall, come back to lane with full health and a lot of strength. Means that King and Kuden should have control of this lane right now. Ejim needs to show some respect.
Oh, well, Spook's going to hand over this blue buff to Swiffer in the mid lane. So Raze, no real problems as far as dealing with the minion wave now with that BF sword as well as the boots. But that's a serrated dirt completed here for King. The armor penetration going to be very important. We'll see whether he can close that CS gap now with that added item.
We're past the 5-minute mark, so turrets no longer have the fortification bonus. Yeah, structures can go down, and there's still that bonus gold to be picked up by either of these teams. But again, cautious play. Game number 1 in a best-of-5 series. It isn't a surprise to see this.
Cooten wants to try and protect his pink ward, but he's not going to be able to. Look at the damage from Raze. Gets the auto attack reset. Carbon's here though. Cooten is able to sweep this brush okay. We'll need to rely on that King's Tribute to get a bunch of this health back, as well as the potion.
Yeah, he's got the relic shield. He's eaten a lot of biscuits. Cooten should be okay, but needless damage, honestly, coming out onto that trundle.
Oh, Carbon just on vision clearing duty. Legacy with a lot of vision around this dragon as well as Spooks. Not actually going to clear that tunnel as he takes away the enemy blue buff. Cassiopeia, of course, would love to have that, but Spooks is going to be able to deal with it. Carbon's still waiting around. Swiffer just minion wave heads towards.
Carbon's heading over there now, but it's too little too late by the time he does get there. Spooks on the ball, able to take away most of Legacy's jungle time and again.
Yeah. It's only a couple of red buffs that Carbon's been able to find this game. Still farming okay, has himself the Sightstone, Chilling Smite there as well, but not getting tanky like he'd want to with that Cinderhawk just yet, and Choose goes aggressive onto Swiffer.
Yeah, honestly, no damage being built right now by Swiffer. Bottom lane fighting.
Yeah, the culling does come down as Cooten takes a big chunk. It's mostly the minions that suffer there though as Chiefs come out ahead.
Yeah, I think it's a relatively even trade as an end result. King being healthy is quite valuable for Legacy, but the mana pools are starting to wane for both of them, so that trade really was just brute forcing and trying to stamp their mark in the 2v2. No one was going to die.
Well, at the moment, head back to base. Chiefs pick up a hammer for the Sivir, as well as a cute little dagger as well. Still have that CS lead, but King has been able to close it relatively. Swiffer continues to shove things out here in the mid.
And Spooks is massive. As Berserker Greaves in his almost at his completed jungle item. This is a big Graves. And if Carbon's ever found him, which they have now.
Speaking of which, there's the Frozen Tomb. Spooks gets a quick draw over. Carbon flashes out of the way though, and Choose provides too much of a threat. Nice escape, as Swiffer was thinking about following, but decides not to.
Yeah, throws out the claw for good measure, but doesn't follow that one up. No mana to his own name at the moment. We'll have to go back to base eventually. Choose the saving grace of Carbon right now, who is not having a fantastic game one, simply because Spooks is having a great one.
He most certainly is. And Spooks is doing a bit of a Carbon here as well. Inside the enemy jungle, very, very early on. Taking Carbon down at his own game as now Raze and Ejim make their way back into the bottom lane. Item Spike now being matched somewhat here by King, who almost has that Ghost Blade.
Yeah, big power spike to be seen from that Lucian once he actually has it. Of course, picks up another longsword to be as efficient as possible with his items. Anyway, it goes after that one, most likely the Black Cleaver.
Yeah, it should be. King just has to deal with giant minion waves over and over again. Raze not really letting him have too much fun in any 2v2. Swipe has completed the Frozen Mallet.
That's the thing, he's going to be perfectly fine farming. It's around this time when they want to utilize that Lucian who's been farming up, and Chiefs are the first to actually say we want the Drake. He's getting chunked out.
All of that vision just left there for Legacy as this one is going to fall down. Spook's able to lock it up. Legacy just battening down the hatches for the moment. Not wanting to fight this Chiefs lineup, despite the fact that the Chiefs, it's only 100 gold. There is nothing in it here in 12.5 minutes.
Yeah, and they're still going to be trading. They hear the scream of the Drake dying, so they move over towards the Rift Herald. We haven't mentioned how good Legacy are at taking out neutral, but once that Baron spawns with a Cassiopeia and a Lucian in their composition, they can shred it.
Certainly can, and what's going to go over? Swiper with good position on the Meganar as ultimate goes down on the bottom side. Good snare onto Cooten, who's using the subjugate to quite great effect, but there's a flash. My God, the damage, and Swiper's taking out Carbon as well. On the top side, it's a double kill? What is going on? Swiper just gets him in the pit.
Swiper gets 2 kills onto the people doing Rift Herald. Not done.
Choose is here. Nice stun comes in as Swiffer trying to save his top laner. He's still alive. He's slowed. Oh, this is ridiculous.
That is exactly what the Chiefs want in this game. That's a momentum builder across the board. Not always ideal to fight on the entire map at the same time as a split unit when you've got a team fighting team. But you can see it here. Massive plays from Swiper. Swiffer comes in to make sure it happens. And Choose was close to getting these kills. But close is not enough, unfortunately. And Legacy now, they were dead even in gold until that moment. That flash, unfortunately, wasted.
Yeah. Did like the idea out of Choose, but unfortunately didn't pay off.
Now choose to clear up this minion wave. I mean, you did mention Legacy do have a heck of a lot of damage, especially at late game neutral control, which is something that they have been able to find a lot of strength in. It is only 3,000 gold lead here for the Chiefs.
It's just massive that the top side of the Chiefs is successful at the moment. This is Legacy's recipe for success. You've got Raze who can step up and be huge on the side of the Chiefs so they can carry in every single position, but you do rely on Choo-Choo's being big, and he's being kept down. He hasn't actually found those kills. Tally is now in a hole.
Yeah. The other thing we have to mention is the fact that first turret did fall down in favor of the Chiefs on the bottom side. That is why these duo lanes are now on top side. Of course, Raze shoving that minion wave into King and Coop.
Also just don't think Swiper really, Tally rather, doesn't want to 1v1 Swiper. That would be dangerous. He'd be asking to die. And only now, because the wave is super pushed and Swiper doesn't have vision, he's showing respect, will Tally be able to farm like this.
At the moment, at least, has that level advantage, having cleared out that big wave. Swiper going to pick that one up. Raze poking his head in. He's going to find too much. Good circle across there from Swiffer. Locks down Carbon for the moment. Eats through that rage bar. Will keep himself healthy as the blue buff should now go over to Choose for the first time.
Yeah, Choose is going to be super happy about this. Of course, means the Cassiopeia has a lot more lane control in the 1v1. Would have liked it earlier, but now that there's Abyssal Scepter available for Swiffer, it's unlikely that he will actually die to the damage of that Cass. It's more about, can Choose keep up with wave clear at this point and actually roam around the map and help Carbon?
Yeah, and you can see Swiffer as well actually going for a lot of cooldown reduction, wants to make sure he can instantly clear this wave as quickly as he possibly can with those Qs.
And it's such a simple concept in this game, but I feel like through laning phase, the Chiefs have actually completely outdrafted Legacy because this plays towards their strengths. They'll get themselves ahead towards the late game as these two.
Yeah, this is not Chiefs getting ahead as Swiper bounces himself over. Actually looks for the Hyperproc and gets it there. Tally doesn't find it. You can see Swiffer, yeah, he's coming in. That cannon creep goes to waste. That is not what you want to see.
Yeah, Choose always late to the rotation just because he doesn't know where they're going. Vision control's still quite good for the Chiefs. Oh no!
Oh no, bit of a bonk there from King. He doesn't get over the wall. Ejim safe for the moment.
Yeah, unfortunately, King headbutting the wall. Doesn't get him a kill. May not have found it anyway. Ejim still has both summoners up. And that's a dangerous thing. Look at the summoner difference in these bottom lanes that are upside down.
Yeah. King and Kuden still waiting for that one. There's the Mantra Q one more time. King just forced away from this minion wave over and over again. You can see Raze not even shoving this one in. They just know that they've got so much control and they've got a jungler.
Yeah, Graves sitting on the pink ward. Of course, we'll see junglers now matching each other on the top side of the map, both in the right place at the right time.
Over now, Carbon. Oh, Spooks actually stopping. As another ward comes in.
The ward battle.
Everyone just sweeping as much as they can. King wants to make sure he's not dove. Just culls that minion wave. He's going to be able to reset.
And this is the big thing. We spoke towards the wave clear that the Chiefs have. Look at Legacy's wave clear. Cassiopeia doesn't have a blue. Can't clear as efficiently.
Well, Spook's actually taking a lot of damage there from Choose. Be a little bit careful with that positioning.
Yeah, of course, a lot of damage still to be seen by the Snake Lady. Same thing applies for the Lucian. Legacy could skirmish. They could look towards 2v2s or 3v3s where the Rek'Sai is influencing. They just haven't found it every single time they try. Spooks is besting them.
Oh, King taking a lot of damage there from the Boomerang, and Kuden is going to get... Oh, no, close to Sned. Doesn't. Subjugate has to be used, and Carbon actually can't find his way in.
Yeah, it still doesn't say go. The Rek'Sai not able to find his way in. Just hanging out.
And was that probably because King took too much damage?
I mean, potentially. There's various reasons for it. He also doesn't know where Spooks is. Was perhaps waiting for the Graves to show up for a dive. As Swiffer, speaking of dive.
Yeah, exactly. Kuden has to flash out of the way. Lots of respect for Swiffer's lockdown. But that's going to spell the turret here for the Chiefs. Swiffer always managing to get something from these movements. Even if it is just saving his top laner's life like before. They will take down the turret. Now Kuden taking a lot of damage. The Chiefs just get rid of it and move on.
They always feel one step ahead right now of their opponents in Legacy. The Chiefs are looking fantastic in this game number one. See an Infernal Drake to back of his Kuden's caught.
Yeah, caught out of position. The exhaust isn't going to be enough as Raze picks up the kill. We'll just go back with a little bit more cash. And Swiffer's everywhere.
Yeah, you want to talk about Chiefs cheese. Egypt's put it to the wayside. It's now Swiffer's turn to feign that he was going back towards the middle lane. Spooks is actually a mid laner and Swiffer is the effective jungler right now, if you've seen the past 2 minutes of this game.
Yep.
But it's working.
Yeah, Graves, of course, has a fair bit of wave clip. It's absolutely fine. And it's another Infernal Drake as well. Chiefs heading over. Should be able to lock this one down as Carbon's on the top side. That is, RNG is in favor of the Chiefs today, especially in game number 1.
Yeah, this is about as simple as it gets, honestly, for the Chiefs. Drake to Drake, no contest on either of them. And this is something that Legacy want to be contesting, have not found an opportunity. Even with item spikes, even with a lot of strength that they now have individually, they just can't do it.
Well, Choose is going to be the focus here of this team. He's ahead by over 20 CS. Swiffer now spending some time getting his blue buff, but this Lysandra has been moving around the map, not necessarily staying in lane, and the Cassiopeia has been able to farm. Is she going to be the ticket here for Legacy to get back into this game?
Usually you'd say yes, but because the CS isn't that big between them, right now Swiper's going.
Yeah, and the teleport's coming in from Swiffer as well as the Transcendent Blades come out. Nice hyper proc as Swiper is going to speed himself up. Equilibrium Strike comes in eventually as now Tally dashing around, but it's just not going to be enough. And Swiper gets the 1v1.
Wow. He actually got vision cancelled on the Equilibrium Strike, couldn't get out safely because the auto attack slowed him down further as the Chiefs, big rotation to this middle lane.
Now moving over, seeing whether they can take this one down. Swiffer gets the engage, Frozen 2, the explosion onto the Snake Lady. As Choose does land the ultimate, saves himself for the moment. That crit, not quite enough. Raze locks it down with a red buff, and they take the turret. Chiefs look to be able to do no wrong.
They're actually on track to getting a perfect game against Legacy. That's how crazy this game's going right now. Number 1 of a best of 5, looking at a perfect game is abhorrent for their opponent.
And look, the analysts were talking about it. Chiefs, if it's going to be a Chiefs win, they were saying 3-0 victory is what it looks like, but I wasn't expecting it like this, Rusty.
No, this is not how you come out of the gates for the Legacy roster. 7,000 gold at 20 minutes. The tower snowball, coincidentally at the same time as Big Swift's getting a double kill on the Rip Herald pit.
Yeah.
That is disaster if ever I have seen it.
Well, if there's any way to power up Legacy, victory like this on the side of the Chiefs could be something to try and get that revenge mechanism in place. Legacy now trying to make a move on the top side, see whether they can take down a turret to the 4 that the Chiefs have removed so far.
Yeah, it's taken all of this time, but finally the vision on the top side of the map is controlled by Legacy, so they're safe enough to at least push it to the turret. But that's only a limited time offer, because the Chiefs are now coming up. They might have Raze.
Sword does go in. Raze does a fair bit of damage now with his extra BF sword. Moves through the vision. And Choose dead. Spooks takes him down with the collateral damage. Now Swiffer, considering finding more, doesn't have the claw just yet, but there's the movement speed. Fantastic pillar from Kuden for the disengage, but they already lose their mid laner, and he was a pretty important member of this Legacy roster for getting back in.
Yeah, actually gets killed by the mid laner Spooks, basically, this time around. Of course, Swiffer able to help out, and the Chiefs are just rampaging right now. This is absurd.
Just incredible. And you mentioned, you know, Champ Select probably going quite well with this team as Carbon gets frozen tombed. He's trying to tunnel out of the way as Chiefs decide not to blow flashes. They don't want to get over there, and Spooks eats himself a tunnel and moves on.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is that they didn't cancel him taking the tunnel. They locked him down with a lot of crowd control, but Carbon's able to get out safely. Raze.
Yeah, he's exhausted, has to flash on the hunts there. Oh, King
he's now
doesn't get the last auto attack, dashes himself out, will be relatively safe as he gets slowed down. Teleport from Tally gets him into the back line. As Swiffer now looking for King, just face plants, but it doesn't matter. King's gonna get taken down. Carbon the next option. Chiefs are just running around this fight. Double kill comes in for Swiper as he grabs a triple. Tally and Choose in trouble. He gets the ultimate, and Tally's gonna get locked up. Raze grabs that kill, and the Chiefs still looking for more. The thump comes through. Swiper will just start smacking on the snake, and in goes Swiffer with the claw. He picks up the kill. He's kiting Swiper. Can he get it with the boomerangs? Another auto attack, and that's the ace. And the unofficial quadra kill for Swiper.
14-1 right now in score, and Swiper just comes up massive. 7-0-1, an individual performance from this Gnar is just going above and beyond. Choo-Choo's finally gets that kill, and unfortunately Swiffer is the scumbag. That means the perfect game is entirely gone with that turret. And this is, oh, where do you start? Swiper wasn't even close to his Mega. He gets a triple kill and then turns Mega to lock down Choo-Choo's afterwards. The fight looks good for Choo-Choo's in terms of positioning. The Cassiopeia has a choke point to work towards. They just can't deal with all of the damage that's coming out of Spooks. There's so many AD carries for the Chiefs.
Yeah, there's just so many threats. As you can see, Tally made his way in, instantly got exhausted. As we speed this one up, it's a pretty good petrifying gaze there from Choose as he takes down Swiffer with a cheeky look back, and it was a nice dodge on the boomerang. Everything was as good as it could be, but Swiper just right-clicked.
Yeah. Swiper does a lot of damage at the moment. Considering his item build as well, is now going for the Phage, so is the stickiest of Nas.
Yeah. Is that going to be a second Black Cleaver as well? Of course, Spook's going for the snowball item as well. This game's looking so dangerous. 14-1 is the kill score. 8,000 gold, the lead for the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's safe to say that the Chiefs are snowballed, and it does need a miracle comeback for Legacy in this first game to actually find themselves further on the scoreboard. They just need gold.
Yeah. Of course, remember, it is a best of 5. Legacy have been known to bounce back before. We're actually trying to look for the stats. How many games has Legacy actually won the first game? Of course, they've taken down Chiefs multiple times, but not often in game number 1.
Very rarely. As the Chiefs now kicking off this Baron, they do a lot of damage to it, but Legacy are ready.
Yeah, Colin comes in. There's the miasma as King will get snared up. Yeah, nice damage comes in. Petrifying Gaze avoided as Chiefs looking for the re-engage, but Carbon stops him from following the claw. And the captain may have just saved his team.
That was close. That was really close to the Chiefs getting them in a choke point. Cassiopeia, no ultimate. Lissandra has hers. And so if they do choose to go in,
Swiffer doesn't find the Circle of Frost, takes a bit of damage, but Legacy don't want to commit to the engage. Swiper with that Mega Gnar. Definitely a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, now on cooldown. It is very much a timings game here. Swiper and Swiffer don't have those flashes that we mentioned before. So instead of going for the Baron, they are still making a risky decision, but it's looking at the Drake.
Chiefs understand that there is vision down there. Legacy at least able to pressure them away from a lot of these objectives.
They're just leaving it.
Yeah, there's a big minion wave.
I mean, you say it's only a Cloud Drake as well, but if there's more than one Cloud Drake, they move incredibly fast. It is a faster, bigger buck.
Yeah. And remember as well, this is a we want to run fast team. May as well augment your already running fastness and get yourself to the 3rd Infernal Drake of the game. That is a lot of stats.
Definitely is. They have effectively just bled Legacy out now. And there is not much left for them to deal with. They need to be very vigilant around this Baron buff in particular, because the Chiefs can chunk it out. But if you catch them inside the Baron pit doing it, a teamfight can still be won.
Yeah, especially with the Cassiopeia there. Does like these choke points, like the Baron pit, the Thunderdome, as it were. And Kuden has been very good with these pillars. Create artificial zones of control here for Legacy. It's going to be very hard to do this game. 27 minutes in.
And Tally's just so far behind. That's the real difference right now. Swiper's 2 half items, but he's finished 2, whereas Tally hasn't even got his Randuin's Omen completed.
Yeah, just then. Was able to complete that item, but no components for anything else. Spectre's Cowl, the Phage. Pretty comfortable here is Swiper.
Also just genuinely the big go button now for Siva. Has 3 items completed.
Oh,
the crit chance is there. You know, those ricochets, if they hit anybody, it's lights out.
Legacy actually setting up for some sort of gank rush here. As you can see, the solo lane is in mid and bot. Spooks finds Carbon with a fair bit of damage, but doesn't get the end of the line.
Not a threat to be seen from Spooks on this Graves. Again, a lot of damage to be done to neutral objectives when you have the Graves there with the Siva. They are there right now.
Oh, Carbon is going to get snared here at the same time. Boomerang comes down and Spooks grabs himself the kill. That's the jungler, and that will spell Baron now for the Chiefs.
Yeah, they play the vision game, work around their pink wards, and even standing still waiting for Carbon to face check, knowing that he has to. They now set themselves up for this Baron. No contest from Legacy.
Yeah, just 3-man the Baron. 4-man, sorry. Swiffer turning up a little bit later, and Spooks able to lock that one down with the smite. 5-0-5. It's a very scary Graves.
Yeah, to a 0-5 Rek'Sai and his opponent directly in Carbon. That is a big factor in this game's outcome. Carbon always wants to be going forwards, be ganking and get things done. But Spooks honestly just said no.
There hasn't been much of an answer here for Legacy as the tower falls down on the top side. This Baron buff now being utilized, moved through the jungle of Legacy into wherever Chiefs need it. All of these waves now getting pushed forward by the team. Legacy well and truly on the ropes right now. We'll see whether they can find a desperation team fight, find something to get themselves back in, but it's just slipping further and further away. 11,000 gold is so much to claw back from. And the inner turret does fall down now in favor of the Chiefs. And Swiper's been collapsed on the bottom side, but does create a lot of distance between himself.
Got no base left.
Yep, inhibitor turret is going to fall down. Raze tanks a lot of the culling, but the damage is being done. Look at the ricochets and the boomerangs from this Sivir. Legacy haven't lost an inhib yet. That is a good news story.
Trundle pillars off Swiper and he turns around and says, all right, let's fight. They all run away. It's still very convincing here. This is Baron buff. They should be able to push into the base of Legacy.
Yeah, there's the engagement potential from Ejim with the movement speed, but doesn't decide to go for anything overly aggressive. Swiper now a little bit exhausted. Minina is going to be there for a little while longer, so not wanting to engage on anything, and Chiefs looking to spend some cash as they go back home with those powered recalls.
Swiper not having his flash, having used it on the bottom side of the map was a good move from Legacy. Making him lose that summoner spell means his engage is lacking, so it does come down to Swiffer. And if he can actually get it done, Lissandra, fully set to go with that zone use, can go forwards and actually make the plays.
Yeah, just going to augment that blasting wand as well. It's going to be a death cap. I was wondering which one he was going to choose, whether it be the Void Staff or the death cap, and Swiffer, of course, decides he wants more AP. Scales quite well with double Infernal Drake at the same time, might I add.
And there's not a lot of magic resistance on the opposition side. There is now, but there wasn't.
Yep. Of course, referring to that QSS, the King will definitely need if Swiffer's going to be able to find him with the ultimate.
Which is a snowball as well.
Yeah.
Do as much damage as possible. Obliterate someone's health bar.
He was already doing that. Now went back with a heck of a lot of money as King. Possibly a little far forward here as Spooks just walks straight to the turret. Couple of bullets in there. Raze just locks it down. And the inhibitor just going to be taken by the looks of things. Carbon looking for the engagement, finds Spooks, but oh my god! Collateral damage not enough to finish him off, but Carbon definitely not going to make that decision again lightly as Tally getting 1v2. There's the frozen tomb, he just explodes. Top goes the Tally as Choose now off to the side. Spooks grabs the kill. Ejim flashing forward as Carbon looking for the flanking play. It's going to be difficult to do so. Boomerang for so much. Swiper turns up. It's going to be the double kill for Spooks. Now the Chiefs looking to lock down the base.
And they still have the Baron buff. 18-1 is the score. And this should be the Chiefs winning game one.
Nexus turret number 1 falls. Nexus turret number 2 will be dismantled. The Nexus to fall in the end. 31 minutes. And game one in this grand final going to go to the Chiefs. Extraordinarily convincingly.
That's the statement, if ever I have seen one between both of these teams right now. Legacy do need to go back and reset. Go to their backstage and think about where it actually went wrong. But all commendations to the Chiefs for that game number one. That was clean.
It was certainly clean, but are we looking at this saying, yes, it has to be reset and there are obvious things that could be changed now for Legacy moving into game two?
There's definitely things that they should be able to fix coming into this second game, absolutely. But for now, we should be looking at what was a fantastic game number one out of the Chiefs.
Yeah, unbelievable. And Swiper as well, catching Legacy out at that Rift Herald that was supposed to be the trade in order to get something back for the Dragon. Losing 2 people, Swiper being able to lock up so much damage, Swiffer being able to move around the map to everywhere. And we've been talking about a lot of the other players here, but Swiffer hasn't necessarily been known as a super roaming mid laner.
Yeah, it's usually Choo-Choo's who's the roaming mid laner, but it felt like Swiffer was honestly Twisted Fate throughout that game. He was everywhere and anywhere at the exact same time, always counterplaying the opponents, always making the positive moves and getting the ganks off successfully.
Yeah, it was brilliant play out of the mid laner from the Chiefs, but we are going to throw it back to the analyst desk to break down that first game. Thank you, Atlas and Rusty. Well, what a game one we just saw, guys. Let me ask you, that's Chiefs playing an almost perfect game, but is it Chiefs playing well, or is it Legacy kind of flubbing it? Let me start with you, Jake.
Yeah, I think that game kind of went exactly how I predicted game one had to go, because in all honesty, the Chiefs picked shoving lanes, and even though Aurelia beats Nah, it's after an extended period of time, and what the Chiefs are very, very good at is finding Carbon early in the game, keeping tabs on him. This time, it results in a first blood because Spooks just tracks him from one side of the jungle to the other. Very predictable pathing out of the Legacy jungle. And then from there, he just can't help any of these lanes that are getting shoved in. It means Aurelia can't get ahead. They start making riskier calls, and ultimately it costs them the game.
You're absolutely right. Spooks just ran around tagging him, just like you said, annoying him, killing him early. It actually looked to me like Carbon caught vision of him and didn't react in time. I don't know if that's nerve issues, because that's what the whole game felt like to me. Chiefs played phenomenally. They played their perfect game. the experience showed, right? You have 4 veterans. They're all really good. But Legacy looked like they had nerve issues. It looked like they didn't really have a shot caller. Some of their plays, like Kuden going in, Carbon not going in and following. What is happening there? Is that nerve issues or is that just unclear calls?
I think a lot of it was unclear calls. I mean, you see in the top lane where, Tally tried to get the turret, but everyone just left him.
Yeah.
And they wanted him to bounce in a very, very greedy situation. And what happened? Swiper showed up, they started porting on him. The port didn't even go through, and Swiper just solo killed him. And you see on, they try to do Rift, and then Swiper comes in. That was the real clincher of the game. Once Tally doesn't go off, once Swiper wins that split push and at 4-1 that, Legacy tried to get themselves into, they just lost the game. And that was basically the clincher of the game.
Yeah, and he's able to build Frozen Mallet, just walk him down. There's no fear in him once it gets to that point. And when there's no fear in a comp that looks like their goal might be to 1-3-1 or something in that matter, they're forced into a very, very simple playstyle to beat, and that's all Chiefs do is just walk around, kill them at every option, and it's game over.
Well, Jake, when we were watching that just over there before, you were going off at one particular moment in the game. You just saw a bit of a team fight into a multi-kill. Why don't you run us through that replay,
Yeah, the thing that really confused me about this as we bring it up onto your screen is the fact that Legacy, even when behind, are normally clean team fighters. So what you see here is that they actually extend onto Raze and they catch him out, they blow him up. Ultimately, even though Raze doesn't die, this should be the team fight going slightly more in Legacy's direction. But what's really important to note is that their teleports come through in a position where it looks like they want to fight, but both Kuden and Carbon run down. That signals to me that they don't want to fight because their supports are nowhere near them, and it results in King getting caught out, results in, Swiper picking up what is an unofficial quadra kill. But that to me, as soon as your jungle and support are out of there, you have no initiation. You have no business sticking around for the tail end of that engagement, and ultimately, Legacy just got made pay. That's not a gold lead, that's just a bad call.
It really does actually just feel like one of those classic solo queue games where one person goes in, baits everyone else on the team, and they're just going one by one. So that was a really, I want to say solo queue performance in that team fight. But I really want to see what Legacy will do game 2 and 3 now that I feel like they should get their nose out of the way.
Yeah, hopefully they do. That fight, like you said, it looked like someone got caught out. King could have got out of there the way that Swiffer played his claw. He clawed on the right side of the wall, and King had the time to E down and run away. Even if he gets caught there, cut your losses. Don't take this horrible fight. That's what they were doing. They were like, oh, well, we got to fight now, right? We're already caught. What are you doing? They never win that fight. I don't think they expected to win that fight unless someone just went absolutely bonkers. So why fight after the initial catch happens?
I think at that point with King, someone probably on the team made the call that said, oh, let's go in. And he's like, no, what do I do? And he just stands there stuttering, not knowing what to do, and he still result in there.
He's got nowhere to go.
But the other thing is, and I want to just go back to it, is that this is a pressure game. And all of a sudden, when you're King, you're used to having 2 of the best peelers, honestly, in the OPL, in Kuden, in Carbon, and then you realize that you don't have any peeling, you don't have that room to maneuver. All of a sudden, Summoner's Rift is shrinking in on you. This is a high-pressure situation, and you could see that, when push came to shove, it looked like the Chiefs, they had a little bit more time up their sleeve. They were setting up very, very nicely, and Legacy weren't afforded that luxury.
Yeah, like you were saying, there's no peel. That happens when you put Trundle and Aurelia in a game. When you get ahead, those champions are going to look phenomenal. But when you're behind, they look just like they did. Dismal. They were terrible. You can't peel with it. You can't engage with Trundle support, especially once you fall behind. So there's very, very little utility. The only great thing is it blocked out a Mal's pick, but it didn't matter. They just picked Lysandra and they don't care.
And what really, like I said, before, they picked a comp with 1 win condition with a 4-1 peel back, let Tally split push against the Gnar. You got the counter pick against the Gnar. You let Aurelia beat Gnar in a split push, win the game, but Gnar got 7 kills and Aurelia was not able to do that, and you lose the game.
Yeah, but they've done it all split. I mean, this isn't something new. I mean, we're not rocket scientists here, Legacy, they're probably going to play 4-1. Hey, they were minor premiers just playing 4-1 the whole time. I mean, this is an easy game plan, to actually win out against, as we had some joggers behind
They love
Soraka. I was just helping them out there. The motivation is good. But I think that this was, once again, it's a game 1. Legacy come in with something tried and true, and the Chiefs just read it very, very well.
All right, well, that is our analysis of game 1. We'll be back right after this with game 2. the analyst desk. My name is Michael Hingersing, and we are into game 2 of the OPL Finals. Chiefs are up 1-0, guys, but if you're a Legacy fan, do not despair, because Chiefs, as we discussed before, are Game 1 specialists, right? So how do we get back into this, Tigo? How does Legacy get back in?
I still believe it's going to be 3-1. I still believe.
You still believe?
Hopefully that's all their nerves got. They find their defined shot caller. They find that voice that they so desperately need, and they treat it like they treated every other game. That's what it felt like. They came into it, they played passive, they played safe, they played careful. At the Rift Herald fight, you watch Choo-Choo's flash away instead of into them. If you flashed into him, that's definitely a kill, maybe a double kill, instead of flashing away, because that's the safe play. That's the I don't want to make a mistake play. They can't do that anymore. They need to take the risk that they took in the regular season, especially if they're going to look to fight as much as they did.
I think classically playing against Legacy for so long, they're the best when they've got their backs against the wall. And I think especially with this 1-0 loss, Legacy have always somehow managed to play really, really well when they're really behind. And if there's any good news for Legacy, I would say that in that game, they played. This is the level they played at, and usually they play at this level. So it's really, I feel like it would be really easy for them to just step up the game. And a lot of the plays, a lot of the mistakes they made were very team-based mistakes. They weren't very kind of individually got 1v1 mechanics outplayed. It was very team-based, sloppy mistakes, and I think if they cleaned it up, they'll have a very good fighting chance.
Besides Carbon's death early on.
I hate being the guy. You know, you guys just put my back against the wall. The game doesn't change. Nothing I saw in that game actually shows me that Legacy understand that standard lanes are now the way of the future, and that you have to be able to path around your jungle efficiently. You know, I definitely agree with the thought of, you know, they play well with their backs against the wall, but they need to completely revamp just how they approach that game of League of Legends, because looking for counter picks, you know, after the reason that these counter picks were so good is because, you know, in an elongated lane, after the outer turrets have been knocked down and you're securing side wave farm for your top laner, there's no way Gnar can approach because the wave's too big. I mean, Gnar with Hopper on this patch, sure, he loses to Aurelia eventually, but he's pretty much ungankable by that combo early in the game unless Carbon gets some really sneaky gank pass. And if Spooks continues to find him, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I just hated the Trundle support as well. Why are you going Trundle support when you worked so well being able to peel people? Trundle, he has a pillar which honestly is not peel. It really is.
I actually think that was a little bit of a mind game. I'm going to give a shout out to Jish here because the Chiefs never play Karma support. I mean, I didn't think they could do it. I called it in the arena when we went there that, you know, I think that is a Karma mid lane and that they're going to pick Alistar. And I think that Kunin got that read as well. And he was looking for the better matchup into an Alistar in that 1v1, 2v2 situation. So credit to Aegium for being able to pick up a new support and run with it.
I really want to see Legacy for once not play kind of defensive bot lanes. Like Kunin is a very kind of, I guess Aegium is a very aggressive playmaker. Kunin a very peely support, very defensive. So they're really polar opposite ends. And if you saw that game, you know, you got Lucian Trundle into Sivir Karma. And Sivir Karma is just going to shove you in all day. Spooks is going to freely track Carbon in the jungle. So I really want to see Legacy play a lane where they can assert their dominance and not let Spooks just freely walk into the jungle and track Carbon.
And Legacy have done it really well in the past. I mean, they play good pushing mid laners. They can play a very aggro style. It's just that they haven't lately. So, you know, it might be shaking off some of those cobwebs. But I agree, you need a pushing half of the map, and you need Carbon to at least have some time in Fog of War to be able to work his magic.
I think they have to respect the Chief pick ban, though. Like you said, it was a mind game with Trundle, right? But that's expecting Chiefs to just follow a flowchart and go, all right, now we pick Alistar, without any reflection on what the enemy picked. You have to give them that respect, and I think they've definitely earned it now. So after this, they go back, they look back at those picks. Even though I don't believe pick ban ended the game for them, there were still a lot of mistakes more important than that to reflect on. That's one that you can easily fix and work on.
Raider, can I just ask, as someone who's played in a lot of these finals before, if you go down 1-0 in that kind of style, what kind of mentality are you looking for to get back into games 2 and 3 from a psychological standpoint?
So we always have a saying. I don't know if it's I think Ivan from Riot actually gave it this, also shout out to him. But we have a saying, when you're down 0-1, even when we played footy in high school, we just said nil all, boys. 0-0. And it's like no matter if you're 0-2 down, if you're 2-all down, you treat the game as if you were 0-0, as if you were fresh, as if you had nothing, no baggage hanging, and you're just going to give it your all.
All right, well, let us see if Legacy can treat this like a 0-0 and get back into this series. They're only down 1-0, and like we said, Chiefs are that Game 1 specialist, so let's see if Legacy can get back. That's enough from us here at the Analyst Desk. Let's throw it out to the casters.
Thank you very much, Hingers, and welcome back to the arena, ladies and gentlemen. I'm, of course, Atlas. This is Rusty, and Rusty, Legacy, is it all about that reset? Is it all about what's been going on now backstage?
I agree with Raider, honestly. Every single game is 0-0. That's the beauty of Summoner's Rift in League of Legends, right? Is it starts from level 1 all over again. Yes, Legacy went down in game number 1, and the Chiefs genuinely dismantled them. They looked incredible through that game. but you can reset. You can go back and reflect on where it went wrong or what you can improve in the second game and just play towards your strengths again.
Yeah, and of course it is going to take a lot of change here from Legacy. I expect to see a whole bunch of different picks, a whole lot of different strategies, because as soon as you go into a game feeling like this could be a repeat occurrence, that is not what you want. I think everything's going to be switched up here.
Yeah, the only scary thing is that was a confidence draft from Legacy. They picked comfortable champions. They tried to just get themselves through that first game, maybe hit team fighting and reflect upon things that went good or bad. That was just bad. And they really do need to hit the drawing board and reassess what they can do to change it. It could be that everything changes, or it could be a single entity changes its identity, like Tally cheesing with Riven or Gangplank or something.
Yeah, or maybe even Kuhn moving away from the Trundle. Do you think the Trundle was possibly one of the things that really held Legacy back there?
So I don't think the Trundle was a problem. I actually am impressed with the Chiefs, and I agree with Spawn. I think that Karma was just a bit of a cheese pick, that they bluffed saying that it was going to be mid. Then they picked the Lissandra and had a honestly better, well-rounded team composition. Karma's not Ejin. Like, that doesn't mean you can engage. It doesn't have the Alistar Pulverize on it.
Yeah.
But they still did it.
Well, we'll see whether it is going to work out once again, as Karma's going to be banned. Legacy just get rid of it. Don't want to see that one at all. Vladimir, of course, on the red side, generally banned away, as Gragas once again going to go. Legacy not looking for that first pick of the jungle. We'll lock something else down, as Jin is going to be the second ban here from the Chiefs. So Karma, the only new one to hit the ban list, and Gnar is going to be taken away, and I love this. Get rid of what beat you.
And this is entirely adaptive from Legacy, yes, but note which champions are still available, and a lot of the focus of game number 1 was actually on that middle lane. So now Talia stands present. The Chiefs have to decide what they want to actually ban and what's worth it.
And LeBlanc's there as well. Of course, Swiffer has almost everything up his sleeve, as Gangplank once again going to be the final ban. Chiefs think, well, happy for the game to go, very similar to last one. As Tally's going to hover the Teemo. Korea Mail Piazza goes completely ballistic, but that's going to be the Lucian locked in. Tally takes away King's Picker. It's now Spooks and Swiper doing their general hovers, and we'll see what the Chiefs decide to lock away here for their first round.
Yeah, so we'll wait for them to move towards perhaps the Alawi and then change to the actual champion that they want to be. The Chiefs never cease to impress. Poppy, whilst it's being hovered, we do have to highlight this. It's a fantastic pick at the moment.
Yeah.
Swiper has been grinding it in solo queue, and it will be something we may see in this best of 5.
We can see Swiper now thinking about the Trundle, sorry, not Trundle, Maokai. I was going into my next point, which was the fact that Legacy are able to pick up that Trundle if they want to. Subjugate, of course, fantastic. I would love to see the Poppy, however, because Swiper's always been a brilliant tank player, and full tank Poppy in this meta at the moment is brilliant.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Not only that, Spook's probably going to pick his own champion here unless they go the support route.
Oh my goodness.
Make your mind up, Swiper.
Spooks as well, as and is Talia locked away. Swiffer's going to grab his champion in the mid lane. It's been a while since we saw it because it's so oppressive. Spooks locks away the Rek'Sai. Carbon will see what he does.
And that's dangerous. Legacy do have answers to the Talia. If they wish to have a wave clear, they could go for the Victor. If they want to kill the Talia, they can go for the Cassiopeia again. It wasn't that bad. The beauty about what the Chiefs have right now, though, is that Talia is taken from Choose as much as it is taken for Swiffer.
That's what I love about these two mid laners, because the Cassiopeia as well in the last game felt like it was taken from Swiffer, and then you're like, well, Choose has definitely played a heck of a lot of it, is fantastic on the champion, has looked to carry on the champion as well. Now Legacy do lock away the Braum, so the Lucian Braum bottom lane is going to be coming in here, and there's the Shen for Tally on the top side of the map. See what Swiper is going to take into it.
And it was King that said Chiefs are 4 supports and a carry. Right now it looks like Legacy are 4 supports and a King.
Yeah.
So very much a similar identity to what he believes the Chiefs are. Does look like a lot of the onus is now going to be on King to step up massive.
And a lot of global power here out of Legacy at the same time. So that Stand United going to be very effective. We'll see whether Choose looks towards something like a Twisted Fate, which would just, that's mostly me getting excited because I love that pick in the hands of Choose and Legacy when they play as a unit. Legacy at their height almost felt like a hive mind. They were moving so well together around the map. And we'll see whether they can get back to that because they need something to go right for them. As Swiffer going to lock away the Trundle. Could be for Swiper on the top side, but it's not, as Ejim's going to take it into the support position, and there's Maokai for Swiper. Oh, hang on a second. Would this be support Maokai? Or am I mental? No? Okay. Got excited. Once again, Teemo with the hover.
Everyone really wants Teemo.
Yeah, no one really wants Aatrox, which is sort of unfortunate.
You know, the
I quite
beauty
like
of
Aatrox.
Teemo is that everyone's like, yeah, Teemo, and then he'll lock it in, everyone will freak out, and then they'll do nothing for 40 minutes because all Teemo does is just play shrooms.
He does. He does. He can split push as well. I mean, the 1v1's okay. I'm not even going to talk about it as now Kuden thinking about what they want to do. 23 seconds on the clock now for Legacy to round out their roster. Still a jungler to be picked up and a mid laner here to choose.
Could be the Victor with the Graves, perhaps, if they wanted to bring that back. The Gragas is banned. Rek'Sai's been taken from him.
Well, this would be a lot of single target lockdown. 2 seconds to go, Legacy. Come on, guys. That's the Nidalee, but it is going to be Malzahar for choosing the mid lane. Weren't expecting to see as much of the Void Master himself, just with the fact that that passive has had its duration lowered so much.
Yeah, and he's also into a Trundle that can take him out of the ultimate if there is no spell shield there, which is basically never there anymore because it only lasts 0.25 of a second and the cooldown has been increased. Malzahar not the best champion, but look at what Legacy have actually put together for themselves as a team. Yeah. And that's why the Malzahar is picked. Lucian can stand behind him. Literally everyone stands behind Braum. And they've got the Shen ultimate to protect the person doing damage. This is all about ensuring the King is massive and that he can hard carry.
An incredible single target lockdown as well, especially from that mid lane. As we talk about Malzahar either being used for damage in these situations or just lockdown. And with the Nidalee, she just does so much damage, especially at the moment. You saw the clip from Carbon. This guy, very, very practiced now on the slight tweaks to how you play around on this Nidalee.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. Shout outs to Raid here on the analyst desk. Raze picking up the Kog'Maw.
That's ballsy.
Yeah, it is.
He's just picked Kog'Maw into a Malzahar Nidalee, a team composition designed to kill single targets, and he's made himself the single target.
This is terrifying.
There is a beauty behind this pick though, is that the way that Legacy want to play this is to have Chiefs come at them. And by coming at them, they will kill the tank, they'll take out the front line of the Chiefs, and then work to the back line. If you do that against the Kog'Maw, you lose that fight.
Yeah. It's going to be so dependent on Raze and his positioning as well. And one of the reasons why Raze is such a good player is because his positioning is brilliant. He's a Jhin player. Always needs to be as far back as possible, but he's one of those guys that's able to get even those bullets in there and get the work done. And Swiffer as well, he's on his Talia, and Talia does a heck of a lot of consistent damage, but they still are a two-threat team. This could be scary.
They definitely are. So the Chiefs have a relatively high amount of damage from those two carries. The rest of the team are just tanks there to facilitate, but the opposite side of the rift is still single target and deadly.
Certainly is. And Legacy have changed it up almost completely. Of course, King still on the Lucian, but this is a big change, and I love it out of the team. And we want to hear from you. You need to be getting behind Legacy right now. Use that hashtag LGCWin, give them your energy, or if you believe in the Chiefs, the sweeping power of such an incredible game one, use that hashtag CHFWin and let us know on Twitter, because we are going into game 2 of our grand final here in Brisbane, and Chiefs have all the momentum.
A commanding 1-0 victory for the Chiefs right now against Legacy, but it's not over. We know Legacy can come back, and I would be shocked if we don't go to 5 games, Atlas.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit sad.
Welcome to
I know, I want to go to
Summer's
6 games, because, you know, it's gone 3, 4, 5.
If I feel like 6, there's no winner.
Or is there? No,
Not
there isn't. Yeah, it's a bit difficult, isn't it? Well, maybe we can go to 7.
30
Not
seconds
sure. At the
until
moment,
minions spawn.
Chiefs now setting themselves up. Ejim wants to play some baseball. King once again sitting in this brush.
Ejim also playing Kuden's champion from the last game, so the gauntlet has been thrown in, and trust Ejim to be one of the people to actually do this.
I love it. We give him the award, and he does it in the game.
In-game bans.
Perfect. Just fantastic. It's Raze, the skeleton. I like that skin, of course. You know, less to click on. It's a good idea. Strategic skin choice. When, of course, most of the other Kog'Maw skins are far more adorable. You can be a butterfly. You can be an oven.
Yes, Atlas.
Okay, my apologies. Meowkai is on the screen now, though, so if we're talking about skins, this should probably be the one. Let's also have a look at some of the Keystone Masteries. Anything standing out here for you, Rusty?
No, nothing really stands out. Perhaps the top lane masteries. Sliper's gone for something a little bit more unique.
Yeah.
Is that 4 grasps? Actually?
Yeah, that is 4 grasps.
Yeah, see, I understand it. Playing the Trundle into the Brawn matchup, I would always go grasp as the Trundle because you need to hit them to actually win trades.
Yep.
And so you'll be killing the Brawn. Kuden's response is actually to match it, and Swiper's just said, Tally's going to hit me, I'm just going to hit him back.
Well, it's going to be a bit of a tank off there towards the top side as Legacy do lock down their Krug camp. The Chiefs do the same thing over at the Gromp, but do it a little bit faster as now Carbon doing exactly what Spooks did to him. Throws the spear through, Spooks struggling now as the red is going to reset. And Swiffer immediately rotating over. The Nidalee still prowling around this jungle.
Yeah, that's the strength of the Talia though, right? You can see how pushed that wave was already. Swiffer's able to press his buttons and then run away immediately to help the collapse and stop Carbon from invading Spooks.
A bit of extra damage here from Tally on the top side of the map. Those empowered autos, pretty strong from the Shen. The Arcane Smash is going to help Swiper at least shove this wave forward.
Yeah, it's not where he wants it to be though. Tally does have control of the lane at the moment. Whenever the taunt connects, the auto attacks come out of the Shen. Tally does more damage than Swiper could ever dream of.
And is this lane for Swiper just about surviving for as long as possible, getting to those big items and healing for raids?
Yeah. He just wants to hit that level 6 point, press his R button, clap the air, and stop raids from dying.
Well, Spooks on top of a ward here, going down very, very low, but Nidalee back in her jungle. You can see lots of damage here out of Legacy on the bottom side of the map. Raids down to about half health. Egypt, he's going to get the concussive blows on him as well. Very different story now for Legacy.
Yeah, lots of damage. The difference between these games is the lane control that King and Kuden have got. It's a Braum Lucian into a Kog'Maw Trundle. They were never going to win that lane for the side of the Chiefs. They are just holding on. And the fact that Carbon's invading means that Spooks can't be proactive. And generally, this is just a good start.
Yeah, things working out much better here for Legacy as King has to get out of the way of the pillar. Kuden makes his way over as well. That ground makes a lot of noise.
It does.
It's really strange. It's just ground. Swiffer having to deal with these Voidlings. Can't really do it. The Malefic Vision's doing some work here as well as Malzahar. Still Malzahar. Spear not going to find Spooks. And there's the knock-up. Lands the E as well as Swiffer carrying that E in with him. Seismic Shove isn't going to come through as Choose now gets his shield removed.
Yeah, Carbon loses the trade, but so does Swiffer. So Choose actually has control of this middle lane. Unfortunately, doesn't have enough mana to use all of his rotation. And so Swiffer can still hang out. Spook's able to now bite back, though, aggressively and look towards Carbon.
Yeah, looks for the steal. I don't think he'll be able to find... Oh, wow. My goodness.
He didn't even know.
That was not fair. Spear going to go wide there as well as Carbon still not quite having the best time, but more aggressive in the early stage and didn't die, so still definitely a good thing. And Tally's having a great time on the top side.
Yeah, Tally's definitely putting in work. Spooks needs to have an impact at the moment. This feels like almost out of necessity. Something T-Gun said at the start of the show, is that Swiper's not often that capable of getting leads himself, but if you give him one, he will run away with the game. Last game he was gifted one at the Rift Herald.
Yeah.
This time around, he's actually struggling.
The moment you can see Tally, he's going to go back to base. Swiffer picks himself up his blue buff. Shoves some shards into it. We'll just hop on his little surfboard. Back here in mid. Teleport comes down from Tally. Just continue his assault on the top lane. Barmy Cinder now in hand. We'll be able to push these minions very effectively.
And this is where it turns around for Swiper, to be honest with you. Goes back to base, gets his first item. Best recall ever, by the way.
Oh yeah, adorable.
And whatever he comes back with will help him out at the very least in surviving that laning phase.
Yeah, so a bunch of extra health with that Doran's Ring as well as the Ruby Crystal. Not quite as much clear. We'll have that added AP. Feel very good about that. Swiffer now moving back towards the mid lane. Choose, shoves that one in. Has level 6, so Nether Grasp is up and available for the Malzahar.
Yeah, also has his flash up. So if they do catch somebody, if Carbon's nearby, they can look towards Swiffer.
Yeah.
Swiffer being level 6 doesn't actually impact the lane any further. He wants to use that to get around the map and make plays.
Also, the amount of terrain that this Chiefs roster makes is actually silly. And the pillar and the Weaver's Wall there from Swiffer as well. See what he is going to try and do is moving towards the top side now. Rift Scuttler vision is there. See whether Swiffer can actually lock Tally down. Doesn't look like it. Choose moves back into the lane. Swiffer going to join him.
Yeah, so Swiffer's always just going to be wave clearing. Keep the shield down pretty much permanently as Talia also, especially when you have the blue buff. Consistent poke. You can out wave clear Mel's, but it's risky.
Whoa. Jim just says that was rude. Gets down a pillar, finds Kudun. Ray's getting some free farm here on the bottom side. King turns up. Jim turns up as well. Chiefs just clear out the minion wave, move themselves back. Very even is the farm on the bottom side of the map. Recurve bow through that serrated dirt.
Yeah, most likely the Wit's End build again from this Kog'Maw. Big power spike when you actually get the Wit's End. And the magic resistance usually means that support's damage is effectively just too little.
I actually really love the fact that he's picking up a Wit's End against Nidalee Malzahar as well, that are going to be doing so much of that burst damage.
The real game plan, if you were the Chiefs, is wait on Swiper's power spikes with his items. Once he has magic resistance and can get onto King, no one else on Legacy can actually kill him, and he's just going to be a giant tree.
Yep. Which is a little bit ironic considering their opponents. It's Tally. Clearing all these minions out, he's going to be fine. Still 11 CS in the lead, but Spooks now doing the classic Spooks tactic. And looking
So is Swiffer.
for this on the top side, yeah.
Note the ultimate is available and looks like he's ready to make a play with Spooks. There it is.
Yeah, Weaver's Wall comes out. He's going to cut off the Shen. Is Tally going to get knocked off? There's all the damage, and Swiper grabs the kill. The tower now in trouble. Legacy only 2 members up here on the top side, or only 1 as Carbon makes his way in. Nice start for the Chiefs.
Yeah, Carbon's able to push them away, so no turret to be seen, but a first blood is still big when Swiper is the recipient. This is deja vu from game number 1, where Swiffer is not mid, Choose always is. He's just farming, just trying to get to a point of power.
Yeah, and shout out to T-Gun as well, looking like a prophet in this game with Spooks' visit to the top side of the map. Certainly working out. Swiper now with a Barmy Cinder of his own, so looking for the Sunfire Cape early on. Wants to be able to equal the cliff.
Yeah, absolutely right. You don't want to die in that lane. You also don't want to get pushed under the turret. Maokai's okay under the turret, but they also want to be diving Tally, it seems, and stopping him from getting around the map, using his ult and impacting the bottom lane where King and Kuden are still being pretty aggressive.
Yeah, and do you feel like the, I guess, armor focus early on is a good idea here if he is going to head towards that Sunfire Cape, or do you think now straight into the Spirit Visage, get that sap magic working out better?
He could go towards just the Spectre's Cowl and then into the Sunfire Cape if he chooses. Depends what his goals are going to be. If they're going to use his teleport to rotate around the map, find some kills as a team, which is a risk because remember, Tally on that Shen has a more immediate impact in any fight that breaks out.
Well, looking at Tally one more time. Already getting focused out here by the Chiefs as Choose and Carbon looking for Spooks, but Spooks, nope, just going to ping them out, heads towards the other side of the map. With Legacy on the bottom side, now Chiefs looking to play defensively around that bottom lane.
Yeah, everything's still reasonably slow in this second game. Of course, didn't happen too early in game number 1 where the Chiefs started to accelerate. Remember that first Drake is actually not as impactful as the Infernal last time around.
Yeah. You can see slight pause to come through one more time. Here Jim looking over at his teammates right now, big smile on his face. And Legacy looking all business right now. The game looking a lot better for them, but First Blood going over to the Chiefs. Is this going to be another ticket towards that snowball here, or is this a very different game still, Rusty?
This is a pretty different game, a new identity to be seen from Legacy in particular. The Chiefs, same old business, get Swiper going. He can still carry the rest of the map, but it's risky to utilize a Maokai as your big carry tool instead of the Gnar, especially against the Shen.
Yeah, and is this going to sort of involve, now Swiper's big, make sure he's as tanky as possible so that then the Kog'Maw can get bigger? Is this going to require Swiper now transitioning his lead into the bottom lane or into the mid lane there for Swiffer?
Yeah, it's all about facilitating the rest of the map now. So if they do make a play, you ideally want to get Raze going, actually find him some kills. Even if it's an even trade and Raze gets kills, it's a win for the Chiefs because they want to snowball that Kog'Maw, late game hyper carry, and they're all designed to protect him.
Yeah, and we'll see whether Spooks is going to be able to do the same thing. Because the other thing I love about Rek'Sai into Shen is you taunt him, you still get knocked up. The CC's still there. It's beautiful. I mean, one of those interactions that I really like is Legacy still looking very, very intently at their screen. Swiper doing the same thing as we are about to hop back onto the Rift. Here we are. Pause well and truly over. Chiefs with a slight advantage, but it's only 400 here at 10 minutes in.
Yeah, they've done the first step, but the following steps are the most important part for the Chiefs. If they give Legacy an eye in, and the team fighting and even the skirmishing from them will be enough to start to snowball back in their direction. This is anybody's game.
Certainly is. 7 CS down is Raze. King does have a lot of control there on the bottom side of the map, but Swiper's caught himself back up. Carbon looking to go aggressive here in the enemy jungle, misses the spear.
Just expecting a juke.
Yeah.
Just never jukes.
Spooks was underground. I don't even think he could see Carbon. Kuden still paying a lot of attention here in the enemy jungle. So Legacy, their identity well and truly intact. And that is, we don't want to be on our side of the map. We want yours.
But still a first big movement, right? Contrast the games, and Carbon is going forwards.
Yeah.
He's no longer being invaded by Spooks. This is the other way around. The shoe is on the other foot. Even Kuden helping out.
Yeah, seismic shove. Not actually going to find Kuden with a good stand behind me. Choose looking for the flanking play. King turns up as well as the Cogmore is just behind them. But Legacy do decide to disengage.
Yeah, they just walk away. Carbon maybe giving a steal attempt at the very least. Doesn't have a lot of mana though, so he'd have one spear and potentially chase past that point.
Ooh, nice spear lands on the Swiffer there as well, a little bit off screen. Both teleports are available. But no one pulling the trigger. No one even taking this blue buff. Spook's looking for Choose, but doesn't find him. Ejim possibly caught out as he has to immediately flash. Good dodge, and gets out of the way of the ultimate as well. A fancy feat from Ejim. Gets back under the turret.
He just dodges everything there. Ejim could have died, but even saves the exhaust. That's how much he dodged. Is now moving forwards.
Yeah, well, Subjugate will go down. He'll get a lot of health back. Good exhaust onto Carbon as Spooks is looking for the knock-up. Stand United. He's going to come down on top of the Nidalee, but they transition over to Kuden and gives Swiper into the back line. Chooses Black Force. Swiffer's in trouble after he picks up the kill, and King starting to go off, but oh my goodness, Raze picking up the kills. Ejim's so low, but he gets the heal. Tally's going to die, and Spooks grabs it. Chiefs now 4-1.
Incredibly clutch from the Chiefs there. Swiper gets into the back line at the right time. Nothing to be responded for by Legacy. They were close, though, to getting all of those kills. Carbon still pestering around the pit.
Ejim.
Oh.
Wow,
doesn't
look
die.
at King's Tribute. That is such a busted passive. So much health back as Carbon couldn't find the spear onto that dragon.
It's actually a really good point though, right? The Trundle just does not die in these fights. Look at how low Ejim gets consistently, but if anyone dies near him, he'll get health back without fail. Swipers W times with the flash, because Swiffer's able to get in there, they are able to take him out. Deep from King and Choo-Choos. They were trying to protect each other, but didn't have the team because they'd all flashed to safety. And Chiefs are able to then separate Legacy and just run over them.
And the double seismic shove as well from Swiffer in amongst all of that chaos was just so incredibly impactful. A lot of minute details really giving advantages to the Chiefs right now, who do manage to pick themselves up the Cloud Drake. And once again, we got Clouds and Fire, Rusty, as the next one's going to be that Infernal. Oh, Swiper. Possibly trying. Yeah, well, let's see whether he can actually get the ultimate down in time. No damage reduction to come in just yet.
Wow.
Good knockback. Oh my god! Goes 1-for-1 underneath the turret, and the minions are all dead. They can't keep pushing.
It's still good for Legacy getting a kill onto King, but that's massive from Swiper. Able to make a play like that. Gives a lot of time to the rest of the map to be able to push. Raze in particular, working on that top side of the map, as it looks like a battle for that first turret.
And this tower is a much healthier state, so it is going to be Legacy that do take that one down. King grabs the first turret blood. There is going to be Raze picking up the turret for the Chiefs. So, slight advantage there for Legacy. Claw themselves back. 1,000 gold. Going to be the lead.
Bonus gold to be seen from Legacy naturally will help them out, but the Chiefs are still in the driver's seat. They're only 2 to 5 seconds behind in that tempo, thanks to Swiper, honestly. If he was still alive, he could have teleported top lane and sped them up, but he did his part.
Yeah. Managing to get that kill, definitely good. 2, 1, and 3. 100% kill contribution here for Swiper, who had a great game 1 and is looking to push it through now once again for game number 2. The big Swifts is come to play here at Brisbane. Rude and Carbon to clear up this mid lane that has been shoved in. Swiffer, going to head home. Grab himself some more items, and King split pushing on the top side.
And big item spikes to be seen from Legacy. That Malzahar is pretty big.
Yeah.
Nidalee still farming well enough, not exactly doing what you would expect from the champion though against the Rek'Sai. Actually behind in CS.
Spooks has gone for that full Tiamat. I want to clear everything all the time
Yeah.
build. That's been working out quite nicely with that Barmy Cinder now as well.
There's two ways the Rek'Sai goes. It's the Sightstone or the Tiamat.
Yeah.
He has chosen his path and he wants to do damage.
Kuden fighting with Ejim. Nothing really happens. Level advantage there for Kuden though, so that's definitely good news as Raze, clearing out this wave, does have his wit's end. Close to that Runans as well as Swiper. Still looking
He's
for
got
Tally.
Swiffer here.
Swiffer, yeah, he's going to set up the wall. Tally can't get over the top. Flashes. The seismic shove doesn't find it as Swiffer immediately puts the wall down. Another shove comes in as they're just CCing this Shen forever. Does get under the turret, will survive for now.
Yeah, lives, of course, they burn the summoners and there's no teleport available for Tally. He can go back to base and join his team, however, in this middle lane with his stand united.
Yeah, really nice move from Legacy. Take down that outer turret quite easily here against the Chiefs and grab that turret lead. Not quite the gold lead, but opening up that map is fantastic for this team.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is by having an extra turret still being behind in gold, it's a sign for what could happen if they lose the next skirmish or the next big trade. She's still in the advantageous position.
Yeah, Legacy not out of the woods just yet. Spirit Visage almost there. The Swiper as well, speaking of the woods. Heading back down for that 1v1 with Tally. His Spirit Visage has been completed, however, so not going to be doing as much damage to him is the old Swiper. That's not necessarily his game plan, just weather the storm.
Yeah, neither of them really have a game plan revolving around their own lane in the second game.
Yeah.
Ray's still massively snowballing. He's a Kog'Maw after all, and Legacy has sculpted themselves a design around King on that Lucian. It's a mechanical battle between AD carries, and both of them think they're the better of the two.
Yeah. And Raze at the moment, 1-0 and 2. 2-1 and 0 though for King, so a little bit of extra gold. Having fallen down, Raze caught back up in farm. Everything going fine, and now just defending this outer turret on the top side of the map.
That's such an early QSS as well for Swiffer.
Yeah.
He does not want to die to that Malzahar.
All right, Nethergrasp was going to be a big option, especially now that that wave has been shoved through. Might have thought that, look, if I'm going to move up in this lane, I need to not get stunned.
Yeah, absolutely right. Of course, it means the Carbon may not want to gank that middle lane either. A lot of the F focus may then go towards the Lucian Braum lane, which means that Swiffer can rotate, and he will do so quicker than Choose. Also means that Spooks can be there to counter gank if they look towards that. It all comes down to that timing as well. Get blue buff and maybe look towards the Drake and make a play around it. For the moment, the 2v2 lanes on the opposite side of the rift.
Yeah. Got a very different story here this game. The gold entirely even now at 18 minutes. Blue buff going to go over to Swiffer, but you can see Carbon. I mean, I think they've lost one blue buff so far this game.
Bottom lane's now recalling. Most likely going to walk towards the Drake area.
Oh, Spooks, you cheeky devil. What did... Spooks is a mastermind of the steal today.
Yeah, that man's ready to go.
Yeah. If you're a shop owner here in Brisbane, probably watch out. Sam Broadley. Just, you know, bear it in mind. If he walks in... Yeah, well, anyway. Dragon, going to come back up right now. It's an Infernal Drake, and Chiefs all moving over to it. Don't want to let this one go.
Of course, want to play around the spears coming out of Carbon if he can connect onto a priority target. They don't have heals on the side of the Chiefs, but the Chiefs' response is to not wait around to get hit with spears, it's to actually just go.
And that's quite a power spike here for the Kog'Maw as well, so they're going to do a lot of damage to this, but is still alive for the moment. Tally can make his way in as Kuden just launches himself forward. The Chiefs get themselves a dragon, but is this the way Legacy can win? As Raze flashes, is going to die first up, and Swiffer's melting at the same time. Choosing double Swiper is gigantic, and a Cathian surprise locks up the double kill. Chiefs now turning it on its head.
Battle of the tanks.
Ejim once again turning up in the nick of time. Kuden looking to get himself back into the fight. Ejim's just a bait bot right now, as there's another pillar from Ejim to try and help out. This is ridiculous. Tally just shields himself up again, gets the W as Swipe. Oh, that was amazing. But the knockup comes through. This tank battle will be over with Spooks taking down the Shen, and Kuden limps away.
I think I grew a beard during that fight, Atlas, but they actually did find the victory at the end. The Chiefs, a lot of damage coming out of Spooks. Actually, the tipping point between the tank battle did a lot of work there.
Man, the Tiamat, so important. Let's have a look at this one again, hopefully in fast forward towards the
end. And this is where Raze actually gets caught out, exhausted and just completely stuck. Still, the Chiefs are able to make it work. Malefic Visions is what kills Swiffer. But from this point, all of the carries have been killed. both teams have made a conscious decision that they're going to kill the backline of the opposition team, which means the tanks are just the only things left standing. And I really would like to fast forward this.
Yeah, I feel like, oh, there it is. Thank you. Thank you very much.
As they pressed their buttons and stuff happened and Pally died.
Yeah.
Lots of buttons.
Oh, and here's another fight. As Kuden's going down extraordinarily low. Swiffer grabs that kill as King culls over to the side. As Ejim once again still running forward, flashes out of the way. I don't think Drew's got the Malefic Visions on. And the Trundle once again survives. Swiper is sort of in no man's land, but Swiffer's going to flash over. King gets destroyed and Raze grabs it with his massive range on the Living Artillery.
Coincides with a 20-minute potential Baron that they have straight up kicked off at the moment. There are 3 people dead from the side of Legacy, but the Smite is standing.
Yeah, Carbon looking to get himself over there. Swiffer taking a lot of damage from the Malefic Visions. Choose is still a force to be reckoned with and has the ultimate, but this Baron going down very low. There's the Subjugators. Carbon looking to pounce himself in there. Lots of damage as he can't actually get towards the pit. Low health bars. Ejim's about to do this 1v1 and grabs it off the back end. Choose now struggling as Raze looking to head back home, and the Baron falls in favor of the Chiefs. Ejim will die finally. Jeez, thank goodness for that.
Ejim shows that he's actually a human after all, not a god, and does go down.
But he's definitely a troll.
Yes. But still, they get the Baron. They get to go back to base. The looks of it.
Yeah, Swiper gonna get stopped.
Well.
There's the ultimate from Kuden, who's tanking up the turret. Nice use of the twisted advance from Swiper. Spooks gets in the back end! 2 kills come out immediately. Swiper's baiting like nobody's business. And Spooks knows he's seen this one before. It takes a long time, and we missed the start of the next fight. So thank goodness they walk away from each other.
Swiper had no idea that he was baiting, is the best part about this.
Yeah.
Spooks is having the series of his life at the moment. 6-0-6 is the scoreline of this Rek'Sai. Stellar.
Unbelievable. And yeah, 12 kill participation seems to be the thing here as Swiper and Spooks, this tank line is honestly all the Chiefs seem to need. Because Swiffer and Raze in that original Dragon fight died instantly.
I mean, you saw the Titanic Hydra there for the Rek'Sai. The conscious decision to build damage so that they're not just a 2-threat team means that Legacy have a harder task when the Chiefs are winning.
Well, Raze by Arcane Barrage going to help take down this turret. He's already got another recurve bow, so building towards either the Blade of the Ruined King or that Ginsu's Rage Blade. I personally hope for the Rage Blade.
It should be the Rage Blade, realistically. Depends what he wants to do. Of course, Blade of the Ruined King works if you need to kite back, and that's not a bad decision. It's Tally's health that he's stacked.
Yep. Choose with a bit as well at the same time with that Rylai's, but now the Chiefs are going to set up for this siege. The Baron buff, of course, helping out a lot here at 23 minutes. It's Choose. No shield, has to be careful as the Voidlings are spawning. Big knock-up as the Weaver's Wall comes in. There's the exhaust down on the Malzahar, and he's going to fall. Kuden's going to die, and that split of the fight was beautiful from Swiffer.
And Swiffer didn't stay on his wall. He accidentally, I think he got stopped and got off the wall, had to walk the long way around.
Just shot a wall at them.
Such a good ultimate that they still win a 4v5 basically because they were trapped, base broken.
Yeah, that's going to be the top inhibitor turret falling down. Inhibitor going to follow here as Raze does a lot of damage. Spooks turns up as well. Look at that bounty on his portrait. My goodness, this Rek'Sai is huge. There's the coordinated backs. Hey, it's the Olympics. Oh, Ejim's like, oh, come on, guys. That was embarrassing.
When you want that buff, but you don't have it.
And Raze with the Mage's Elixir understands that Arcane Barrage does a lot of magic damage, likes the AP.
Means he wants to end the game now. That is legitimately the direction that the Chiefs are going towards. Guardian Angels, QSSs everywhere for Maokai as well as Swiffer.
Oh my goodness.
On that Talia. They shouldn't die. There's actually very little avenues of attack that Legacy have with a single target focused team composition that can take apart the Chiefs right now. They actually just like have to kill Spooks and he has a GA, so do they kill Ejim?
No, they don't. They've been trying all game. It hasn't been working.
Yeah.
Hanging out here as well. He's able to throw down the pillars if he needs to. That sapling slowing down Choose and Kuden. There's the Winter's Bite. So the wave clear is here for Legacy.
Baron buff doesn't have forever though, Atlas.
Yeah.
That's their sieging strength still there for a time.
Well, they are able to get a lot of damage onto this turret. Raze just spinning so fast. Kuden going down very, very low, throws out the ultimate, but Swiper's just tanking forever. The tower falls down, good stun onto the tree, who flashes his way out. Vengeful Maelstrom is there, but look at Raze. Finds the W once again. Choose trying to close distance, but doesn't even get the silence. This base is in shambles now for Legacy, but they have held on to this mid inhibitor for the moment.
And Swiper has teleport, so the Chiefs hanging around indicates that he will teleport with this next wave. They want to make a play for this inhibitor.
The Weaver's wall goes up. He's just going to say, well, don't come in. They've got a wall down as in goes Swiper, finds Kuden. Living Artillery's going to tag him up as well. Ray's doing a lot of damage. As now the Chiefs looking to kite this one back. Swiper down to very, very low once again. Good QSS. Gets himself out of the way, and Kuden might be the target they're looking for. Carbon's going to fall. Ray's flashing forward. Gets the Living Artillery kill onto the Braum. And now Tally, he's tanky, but he doesn't have the damage. King's on the fountain, trying to get healthy, and now 26 minutes in, Chiefs looking to win game 2. And they have come with so much to prove. Our 4th place team in the OPL, but you wouldn't believe it.
This is the best that I have seen the Chiefs play, especially in this second game, bringing it back. The face of adversity from Legacy, they prosper.
They most certainly have. And look, it's definitely not over yet. The reverse sweep has been something that Legacy have achieved. But look at the faces of the Chief members here. They are so happy, they are so pumped, and they are so ready to move forward in this series. You heard it from the desk, it's just so hard to come back from that mentally, because that was another dismantling.
Spook's even having a celebratory dance. Knows that he wants to do that if he wins game 3. I personally hope that he doesn't, but we'll see what happens. That was a coveted victory, honestly, from the Chiefs roster. They played champions that Legacy lost with in game number 1 and then beat them with it.
And Ejim's Trundle, I just want to reiterate, the fact that he embodied the fact that he's a troll is so important, because that was just ridiculous. Him skirting around fights, honestly orchestrating where Legacy wanted to go.
It shows a lot of comfort from Chiefs as a whole, knowing their health bars, knowing how much they can allocate towards fights, and playing on that, literally the edge of winning or losing that game, and doing it successfully shows that the Chiefs are here to win.
Yeah, they most certainly are. But ladies and gentlemen, let's throw it back to the analyst desk to break down the second Chiefs victory.
Thank you, Atlas and Rusty. Well, we are back here at the analyst desk. Chiefs up 2-0. Tigon, I mean, are you feeling like your 3-1 Legacy win prediction might be a little bit impossible now?
Might be. Definitely is.
Mathematically, it is impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, the Chiefs outplaying how you thought they'd play. Obviously, they are to an extent.
The Chiefs are playing exactly the standard they play that I expected them to. Legacy are playing nowhere near to the standard I expected them to.
Well, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this early game then. I mean, did you see a deficit in the early game from Legacy? Or?
Yeah, Legacy had the better bot lane. They had the ability to dive. Tally made a great play early that I'm sure many people missed, where he forced the Maokai TP earlier. Radier picked it up really quickly as well. He forces the Maokai TP, so he has Shen ult as the difference maker. But then they did nothing with it. They didn't use it. Nothing happened.
And the biggest problem to me is, you know, there's a saying here, is fight fire with fire.
Sure.
Whoever came up with that saying, it's not a good saying, because you should fight fire with water. And if you were Carbon and your idea is like, I'm being invaded, you know what, I'm going to take Nidalee and invade the other jungle, when your team already wasn't responding, now all of a sudden they have to push out waves and respond, and it just wasn't happening. I mean, we saw Talia was willing to leave level 1 to go across the other side and help out Spooks, you know, shove Carbon out of his jungle. So I just think that, you know, right now Legacy are actually playing towards Chief strengths. Just get Carbon into Fog of War. It's really, really easy to execute upon. Get him farmed up and then execute on your dives. They're such a good diving team.
I think a lot of that was basically Legacy tried to play bot side, so that the Lucian Braum, that the Shen, they actually set up a lot of bot dives, and I saw a lot of opportunities for them to dive, and then they just didn't do it. They had the vision set up, they had Shen ulti, Nidalee was there, Malzahar was there at one point, both the Chief members were in the turret, and they just left. And I was extremely annoyed that they tried to do that, but
difficult to execute. I mean, let's take a look at this. Let's look at this replay from about 18 minutes in. It's a team fight. Brady, why don't you run us through what's happening?
All right, so on the screen when it comes on. So obviously, I think Chiefs are really smart here. They come in here because they know they can win a 5v5 team fight with the Kog'Maw too. I think Kog'Maw at this point had 2 item power spiked. And what you see, first thing you see is Raze throws the team fight by flashing in. And now Swiffer is dead. Swiffer is already dead. King throws again by flashing in. So both AD carries through, but King threw later, so then Chiefs end up winning.
And in any good game of catch, you know, the last person with the ball wins. So Raze gives it to Legacy, King gives it back to the Chiefs, and this is just a tank brawl that's going on. But it really is how the Chiefs are able to juggle this aggro. They know when they have to go aggressive and when they can back away. And you know, Tegan was pointing it out the best. Coonan is like sitting there just cussing his team like, you idiots. Like, I'm trying to save every one of you. I can't get it done. Like, you see poor Coonan like just dancing in and out of that fight. Like, what is a Braum to do, dude?
I think one thing that I will call out King for there is he does something very greedy. So he flash E's in to get the last hit on Talia that was out of the fight. Now, that's something I tend to do sometimes a lot in solo queue because I like to pad my stats, but it is not good. It is not good for winning team fights, and don't do it in a competitive game.
So you're saying you
get the kill?
You wouldn't have done it?
I wouldn't have done it. You get the kill, but you need to win the team fight.
Counter question, would you have flashed when Raze flashed? So you said you wouldn't have flashed when King did. Would you have flashed when Raze
flashed? I just wouldn't have thrown. I would have been a good Cogmore, gone back to my team, and won us the fight straight away.
It's easy to say that from the safety of the analyst desk.
It's not hard. You flash backwards. You don't flash into the enemy team. You're playing Cogmore.
Let's move on, because there was a second replay you want to talk about, T-Gun, which is the tower dive. Let's bring that up.
Yeah.
You want to talk us through it?
So we're going to see right after the Baron, Coonan's going to go stop someone from recalling. Who can you stop? That is awful. Swiper, why not? Because he can kill all of you whenever you have any backup. They knew Rek'Sai was here. They heard the ult. Choo-Choo spotted it out, and they blow everything on Swiper. Spook's great play here. Don't get me wrong, great play, but that is the only member of those three that you stop and kills you all.
You know what? That makes Swiper look really good, but let me tell you, that was not Swiper.
That was Spooks. That was all Spooks and a bit of Coonan.
But maybe you give Swiper some... maybe he taunted there and baited it out. You never know.
Yeah, no, he was yelling profanities across the stage.
He was really smart
beat his chest a little bit.
At the same time, we have to give a lot of credit to Spooks this game. I think Spooks has shown that he's actually can play two very good styles. Game 1, he's being very proactive, tracking Carbon. When Carbon wants to be an aggressor in this game, you saw that Spooks was doing the exact same thing. He's placing out his wards. He's stopping these turret dives. He's kind of playing that facilitator role, and he often gets overlooked for this. I think that Spooks is in the right part of Summoner's Rift more often than not. When he mechanically misplays, sure, he looks a little bit silly sometimes, but more often than not, at least he's there.
A lot of the Chiefs early game, you see that Spooks is actually there in some sort of extent where he's getting vision or something, because Chiefs play very methodically. They always set up for something, which always lets Spooks be in the right place at the right time, and I think that's what you saw that game.
Yeah, well, all right, so let's move on to the late game. I mean, was there anything that Legacy could have done towards the end to bring this back?
I didn't think so. I think they just dug themselves into a hole that was way too deep, and you can't dig up. No, that doesn't happen.
Are they going to be playing tilted for the rest of the series, do you reckon?
And they looked pretty tilted to me.
Yeah.
It's hard to sort of say as someone on the sidelines, but it did not look like a great environment after those two games.
Yeah. I think when a carry top laner plays Shen, you know you're tilted.
Yeah, and that was the biggest thing to me, is that I think that this time Legacy threw their curveball. I think that the fact that you had a Braum in the game and you had a Shen on a team that normally plays pushing waves, two very uncharacteristic non-pushers in the same lineup, showed that this was Legacy's curveball and it didn't work. And when your curveball doesn't work, it affects you mentally.
All right, well, that is game 2 out of the way. Chiefs up now 2-0. Can they tie it up and do a 3-0 sweep? We'll be back with game 3 right after this. Welcome back to the analyst desk for this, the OPL Grand Final. My name is Michael Hing, and we are live at the Brisbane Piazza with the lovely Brisbane River behind us. It is about to go into Game 3. Chiefs are up 2-0 if you're just joining us. So, guys, I want to ask you, started off, if you're Legacy's coach right now, to get back in this game, what are you doing in that team room right now? What changes are you making? What kind of motivational speeches are you giving? Tegan, let me start with you. We'll go down the line.
Quote some sort of movie? No.
Yeah. Samuel Jackson.
If I'm Legacy, I say go back to standard. Don't fret over what's happened because you're not going to be able to change it. Think about it this way. Chiefs aren't infallible. Hell, SKT aren't infallible. They just got reverse sweeped. Radio was saying, oh, Chiefs sort of mirror SKT's results, right? Reverse sweep them. Go back out there, play your standard stuff, play what you're comfortable with, and work from that.
I would say that two things. So firstly, mentally, they really have to come back. So like I said, 0-0. Think about it as if it's 0-0, play as if it's 0-0. And the second thing you need to do is think about what you're going to do in game after that. And I really think that from that game, Legacy are not really comfortable playing bot side. Even though from game one they decided it wasn't working, so game 2 decided to switch up and play bot side. Pick the Shen, pick Lucian Prom, didn't work out. Now game 3, like I think Tegan said, go back to basics, go back to what your strengths are, don't fight fire with fire.
I want to caveat my pit with Soulstrikes is a much better coach than me, and that I have been in this situation before, and my team lost. They were the 2014 Summer Chiefs. So I do want to point that out. However, in saying that, I think that I'm kind of the opposite. I say just feed the beast. I mean, right now, Carbon's kicking himself. If I am Soulstrikes, I'm pulling him aside. I'm like, Carbon, this is your team. If we lose 3-0, a lot of it is on you, not because you're playing poorly, but because you're the captain and we need you to pull them out of the hole. I used to call on Swiffer a lot in a similar situation. You know, don't let the map lose around you. Get on something and win it. Be the proactive guy. So this time, I am saying fight fire with fire. I'm saying go back to one of your oldest comfort picks. I mean, get on a Rek'Sai, get on something that can get in lanes early and just start punching people as much as you can, because Carbon is a great player. He's better than this, and I want to see him bounce back.
All right, well, we are about to go into Game 3. But before we do, I'd like to tell you about a social contest we are running tonight. That is, the Chiefs are up 2-0 right now. They could be taking this in a 3-0 victory, but we want to know from you how you think this is going to end. Hashtag #IamOPL. The best and most creative answers might win a prize. You can check our Twitter for details. That is @lol_Oceania. But that's enough social out of the way. Let's get back to this game. What do we need to see? What do you want to see from Legacy going into Game 3? Aside from, obviously, motivational speeches and more aggression.
I want to see Soraka. I want to see something that might not be the best pick, but it's comfortable. I can't stress that enough. Go back to somewhere where you're not stressed out, where you're not worried, because they're down 0-2. They're obviously going to be worried, and play something where you're used to what's going to happen.
I want to see Tally throw the gauntlet at Swiper. I think that, you know, we've seen a Graves come out in competitive play top lane. It was against a Gangplank. Just leave the powers top lanes up and take whatever is the best champion available, because you guys were right. I mean, if anyone was slumping coming into this before semis, it was Swiper. The Chiefs were trying to build him up, and you saw that a lot of what they're doing is around that. So, you know, try and get back in Swiper's head, because this isn't only about winning the next game, right? You still have to win the 2 after that as well. And I think that if maybe they pick on Swiper a little bit this game, that's their door back into the series.
So I also agree with you. I think that if I really want to see, because from last split, I remember Tally being an absolute monster playing against him. I just could not play against him. And I really want to see Tally step up and show everybody why I think he was the MVP of last split and why Legacy have always played around him.
Yeah, well, all right. Well, those are some wise words. If Legacy are watching right now, that's some potential advice from us. I hope they aren't. That would be probably against the rules, I expect. But that is enough from us here at the analyst desk. Let's throw it over to our casters. It's Rusty and Atlas.
Thank you very much, Hingers. We are in for game number 3. And yeah, those motivational speeches, that's going to have to be like Braveheart level, I reckon, in order to get Legacy back in on this, because Chiefs have just been ridiculous. Winning 5 minutes faster in game number 2. Theoretically, it's a 20-minute victory now for the team if we go on the pattern. We'll see whether Legacy can bounce back, whether it's going to be once again those winter finals.
Yeah, they don't look like slowing down at all, the Chiefs. They have a lot of momentum coming into this next game, and it's super scary for Legacy to be up against what is now a rampaging Chiefs roster. But I agree with that analyst test. They should throw the gauntlet. Tally should just find an opportunity to pop off and take it to Swiper. They're getting a lot of momentum towards the Chiefs top laner. If they can stop that from happening, potentially the game goes in a different direction. Game number 2, Spooks did more damage than Swiffer. Swiper did more damage than Swiffer. He was non-existent. The only person he did more damage than was Egypt.
Yeah, And even the Cogmore didn't do that much more damage than everybody else. So it was a ridiculous performance from the tank line. And I think putting down this jungle top lane duo that has been Spooks and Swiper, I completely agree, is going to be very, very important. If that means Tally can go completely ballistic, once again get back to that MVP form
Give me
from
the
Split
Riven.
1, yeah, that's what I want. Paradise has done it. Tally was the OG Riven main here in the OPL.
He has actually played a bit of it in solo queue. I don't want to like say that he's going to lock it in right now, but it's backs against the wall for Legacy, and you have to choose now. Do we go to standard? Do we just try and beat them again and cut our losses and just play towards our strengths one more time? Or do we throw the gauntlet to the Chiefs and say, let's just do something crazy?
Yeah, well, speaking of the Chiefs, you saw them on your screen right there. Swiffer looking very comfortable. And a man who can definitely play very well with a lead, but if you shatter the confidence of the Chiefs now when they're so close, it could be that opportunity for that reverse sweep. Could be an opportunity now for Legacy to get their foot back in the door, and it has to be, because this is do or die.
Yeah, and all it takes is one win for Legacy, and it feels like from that one win, momentum could be there. Questions could come into the minds of the Chiefs as we're in Champ Select.
Yeah, Champ Select now as Chiefs move over to the blue side for the first time. Once again, going to be banning away the Gangplank. Karma going to be removed again here by Legacy. We'll see whether the bans do change. Looks like no for the side of the Chiefs.
Lots of respect shown from Legacy to the flex pick of that Karma as we do see a change.
Yeah, Talia once again going to be banned away like game 1, but not in game 2. Exactly right.
They realize the error of their ways in the second game.
And there's the adaptation here by the Chiefs. They get rid of the Gnar this time on the blue side of the map. Vladimir, of course, on the red side needs to be banned. He's going to be taken away by Legacy, and now the Chiefs, what decision do they make? Do they pick something like the Shen for Swiper on the top side of the map? It won't be Tryndamere.
It could well be something like the Lucian again. Taking it from King, perhaps making him play something else. The Sivir was actually very impressive from Raze.
It was.
Had a great first game. They have a lot of options here. They could even go Rek'Sai once again and just let Spooks take that from Carbon.
This is actually the first time that we've seen Gragas be left up as well, and that's going to be the first pick here for the Chiefs. Swiper going to take that one for Spooks, and Spooks has had some of his most impressive performances on the champion as Carbon. Oh, don't you play with my heart, boy. He's not. It's fine. He's going to lock in Braum. Thank goodness.
Yeah, I haven't seen Braum jungle very often, though.
No.
I would have preferred Lee Sin.
Yeah, I think he's probably better. You can use your concussive blows on the minions, though, so get some attack speed in there. But it is going to be the bottom lane locked away here for Legacy. Chiefs once again having a look around.
Now, I have an inkling that he won't play Aurelion Sol. He's just shouting out to the LCK games from last night. Still a lot of options available for the Chiefs, having not locked in their mid lane. Not a lot of bans this time around once again available. So they could go the Cassiopeia route. Could go Lissandra once again, was successful in that first game.
I also really love Cassiopeia picked in tandem with Gragas at the same time. That explosive cask into the lower range, Petrifying Gaze from Swiffer could be very, very scary. The Raze thinking about hopping back onto that utility, 16 seconds to go. See what picks the Chiefs are going to lock away, because these have been pretty solid for the last little while, although they mess with us all the time. So it is going to be, okay.
Wow.
Caitlyn Tahm Kench locked in by the Chiefs.
That is an entirely different strategy coming out of the Chiefs. They've got the Tahm Kench to save one of their big carries, most likely going to be the Caitlyn, who works in siege compositions, and that is what the Chiefs currently have already.
Yeah. Of course, Gragas, fantastic at that. Legacy now. Their next couple of picks, of course, we'll see who they're going to save until last, whether it will be Tally, and they'll lock away Riven, and it'll be amazing. Not sure whether it will be.
They also want to set Choose up with a not losing lane at the very least. He just wants to survive, get through that laning phase, join them in the mid to late game team fights, and be a big threat.
So do we expect something like a Victor or Cassiopeia here coming out of Choose?
Still a standard safe mid lane pick would be the ideal option. Not knowing who he's against, but also being on red side this time Legacy. They may leave him to last, but it's not likely.
It is going to be Rek'Sai for Carbon. The desk breathes a sigh of relief as he hops back onto that early game mobile champion, get himself around the map, get things done, and Choose once again on the Cassiopeia. Ray's now thinking about what he wants to do to help round out this Chiefs lineup. We'll see. A top laner, possibly, unless the Gragas is going up there, or the Tahm Kench is going up there. There's a lot of flexibility for those two champions. And Swift is champion there for the mid lane.
I wouldn't be surprised to see the Lissandra locked in with it. Again, was successful for them in the first game. We have said the word Victor a lot. There's also LeBlanc available. Doesn't actually do that bad into Cassiopeia, but in her current form, she can stop you from distorting places if they're good.
Yep.
Well, it's a bit risky.
Relatively telegraphed if you're going to distort for that that combo as well onto the Cassiopeia. So you will be facing her while you're heading in. Sounds like a frightening prospect to me. It's 2 seconds to go. That's going to be Shen first swiper. A lot of tanky bodies out of the Chiefs. As once again, they're going for that late game AD carry and a lot of CC and facilitation coming out of Swiffer's mid laner in this Lissandra.
And they just rounded their team composition out with dive everywhere.
Oh my goodness,
Got a Lissandra who can go under the turret, ultimate herself, and immediate echo.
There's Tally. Kuden even looks surprised, as he was the one that actually locked it in, which is an odd thing. Tally, wow. This has been a champion that he's found incredible success on. We were talking about MVP Tally from Split 1 of the OPL 2016. Well, this was the champion that he did a lot of those performances on.
Yeah, and we can talk about MVP Tally. We need to see that in this game if Legacy are going to have a chance in the series. Has to step up massive. Picks a matchup that he's comfortable with. Nir immediately locks it in.
Yeah.
And that's the gauntlet thrown.
Certainly is. Carbon as well may not need to worry as much about Spooks' early pressure. Of course, Gragas, a lot of early ganking power with the extra CC, but doesn't have the raw damage that a Graves can bring if he finds a low Rek'Sai in the jungle. So theoretically, it might be a better start here for Legacy, and the first time that they've been on the red side. There's a lot of changes, a lot of possible momentum breaks for the Chiefs if Legacy can make a good start here in game number 3.
Absolutely possible. Big game here for Legacy. The Chiefs at set point.
Yeah, this is their ticket to Brazil, to the IWCQ, and possibly that chance to get to Worlds. They've been so hungry for it for so long. And if you believe you can do it, use that hashtag CHFWin on Twitter. If you think Legacy can bring us more League of Legends, use that hashtag LGCWin. Legacy Legion, we need to hear from you to get us into that game number 4. But right now, game number 3 is all we need to think about because the Chiefs are poised at 2-0.
And plain and simple, do or die now for Legacy. There's nothing that they can leave behind. They have to hold nothing back and just give it to the Chiefs.
Chiefs already feeling like it's Christmas. And Spooks with the Santa Gragas. That's adorable. Big fan.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
There's now not too much of a change as far as how we're starting this game off, except the fact the Chiefs are wearing blue shorts as opposed to the red ones. And that's a Storm Raiders surge actually coming out of Choose as well. Wants the mobility.
Yeah. I guess he doesn't have the Ghost, has to go for Cleanse against the Lissandra.
Yep.
And so now benefiting with a bit more move speed. Means his damage is also lacking to tanks though. Not having a Deathfire touch to chunk them out. Risky call, but values the move speed.
Yeah, no, actually, I find it rather interesting. Just, you know, slow resistance that you do get from the Storm Raider Surge, and I guess the movement speed is good, but there's a lot of hard CC out of the Chiefs.
I mean, the thing is, I've even spoken to Swiffer about this, and he believes Thunderlords is just the better Keystone Mastery out of all of them anyway, because the damage is surprising. You never actually calculate for a Thunderlords on top of the damage they're doing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Sometimes can be the difference between a kill or not.
Well, we'll see how Choose is going to play this one out as King and Kuden start here on the Grom. Be more than comfortable here with the same duo lane. Of course, King in the last game did the most damage in the game, so we shouldn't be really questioning the Lucian play out of this man for the moment. See whether he can turn it on here for game number 2.
Yeah, still a fantastic mechanical player, but it's not him that needs to determine who wins or loses this game. King will do his part. Yeah. It's known that the bottom lanes aren't the hard carries anymore unless you're in the LPL. It's all about top lane, mid lane, and jungle, what they can do together to influence that rest of the map.
Well, right now, bottom lane is going to clash. Jim and Raze just hanging out. Nice headshot there onto King as Raze just doing the Caitlyn things. Very, very frustrating in lane, but will possibly fall off here in the mid game.
Actually, just incredibly annoying. When you start a jungle camp, get level 2 immediately, and just place 3 traps in the lane.
Yeah.
Really grinds my gears.
King is able to move out of the way of them at the moment. That Yordle Snap Trap not going to find him just yet. First Dragon is going to be that Mountain Drake as Swiffer moves out of the way of the poison. Choose still able to throw down his Twin Fangs, of course utilizing them to farm very effectively. Cassiopeia pretty good at that.
Yeah, again, a lot of the emphasis in this middle lane is on wave clear for Swiffer. Pushes the wave, disappears. and just tries to influence the rest of the map, whereas Choose is trying to kill his lane opponent, keep him mid, and actually stop him from rotating. It's easier said than done, given the last 2 games.
Yeah, he's now able to at least shove him in. Now Tally and Swiper just fighting towards the top side. Swiper looking to try and, like you said, influence the rest of the map. Tally as well, we'll see whether his teleports are going to be on point and what build he goes for here on the Echo. Do you think maybe like full tank, or do you want to see the Trinity Force?
If it's not Trinity Force, I'll be disappointed.
Yeah, so will I. If it's not a dash cannon straight afterwards, I'd be disappointed as well.
I mean, you're probably just going to get disappointed.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I often am, let's be honest. Have you heard me talk about items?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. Yet again. Swiffer and Choose facing off. That's a big wave moving towards Swiffer. Carbon on the bottom side of the map, looking for a gank on that bottom lane. Spook's doing the same thing towards the top, but it's a good position for Carbon at the moment. Not able to find his way through. Remember, Ejim pretty dang good at disengaging as Tally. Oh, that phase dive was close. Spook's unable to find the belly bob.
Super close, but doesn't get him.
Flash used on the bottom side of the map, however, so Raze did have to use that to get out of the way. Carbon, successful gank number 1.
Yeah, Kuden also using his own, so Summoner spells burnt from 2 players of the 4 in that bottom lane. It's a Tahm Kench after all. Whilst the Caitlyn you'd expect has a fair bit of lane control, Tahm Kench just kind of sits there and hits it with his tongue.
Well, in goes Spooks. Gets the flash body slam. The flash from Choose is good. We'll get him back underneath his turret, so no first blood this time.
It is good, but Gragas can come back. Choose has no Summoner spells, has to go back to base and reset. There's a good opportunity now for Swiffer to pick up 1 extra wave, more gold, and perhaps have a more timely recall. If I was Spooks, I'd be coming back mid.
Yeah. At the moment, just needs to go to his wolf camp. The Snake Lady going to slither her way back into the mid lane and swipe up. Little taunt there onto Tally. Not capable of all that much damage at the moment. Corrupting Potion has run out, however. DGen. A lot of stacking passives on this bottom side of the map. Neither of them going to reach completion, however.
There's no Jin, otherwise it would have been glorious.
Yeah. Another Tongue Lash comes out. Ejim landing that one quite nicely onto Kuden, down to about half health.
It's all just about slow play at the moment, though, from the Chiefs. They've got the Caitlyn composition if they ever find an opportunity to group up, to utilize the Shen split pushing, and then just put Caitlyn somewhere where she can place traps and hit turrets. Then Chiefs are winning this game, whereas Legacy, they actually want to kill the Caitlyn, stop them from sieging, and get skirmishes ideally as well with a Rek'Sai or a Lucian or a Cassiopeia involved. They want Carbon to do something.
Yeah. I actually really love that idea as well. We haven't seen all that much Caitlyn now that we move over to 6.15, but that's exactly what she's good at. That first turret blood is something that you can possibly get quite easily, as Ejim's going to have to eat Raze on the bottom side of the map. Spits him out, that movement speed of course helping. The Chiefs reset. Decent attempt there from Kuden though.
The beautiful thing about Tahm Kench is if someone makes a mistake,
In goes Swiffer, actually gets the Frozen Tomb onto Choose. Stand United's down as well. Going to help Swiffer out. That taunt was God tier. That's first blood goes to Swiper and the fight is on. Good parallel convergence, but Swiffer gets out of the way. And Tally now has to run off. We'll see whether he can get back in, but doesn't look like it.
They don't get the kill on a Swiffer. Good use of the flash and saving it for that long, honestly. This is why you come mid lane. You force Choo-Choos to recall. That's the experience advantage that Swiffer gets, most importantly. And the repeat offense that can come out when solo laners hit that ultimate point and they make Legacy pay.
That was incredibly well played. We saw the Chiefs try to do this in game number 2 as well. Not as successfully. This time certainly worked out, and that early entrance from Spooks into that mid lane paying off.
Yeah, it really does feel like Carbon is MIA at the moment. Super unfortunate for Legacy not having their Rek'Sai around. And honestly, it comes back to the initial point from game number 1 where Spooks is just moving around the map, seemingly more efficient.
He just honestly has Carbon's number this series. I feel like the mind game is in his favor at this particular moment. Will take a lot of effort here from Carbon to get his way back through. Currently farming out his jungle. He's 8 CS behind as far as those camps are concerned. Once again, lanes pushing in favor of the Chiefs, especially here in the mid lane.
This is a perfect start for the Chiefs. Game number 3, set point for them. They couldn't ask for more.
Yeah, Swiper hits that level 7 equal with Tally and denies that siege minion. He's so tanky as well now. Blimey Cinder completed. Got himself another Ruby Crystal. Looks like the Spectre's Cow is going to be the next option. The Shen going to be a pretty immovable object towards the top side.
Yeah, we're at a first big potential point of play. Of course, Spooks will need to recall beforehand, but the opportunity will be there for both teams to look towards the Drake, but primarily for the Chiefs to do so. Note, Tally doesn't have his teleport, even used his ultimate to get back to lane more efficiently. He'll be okay now in the 1v1. But if they go for the Mountain Drake, it should be theirs.
At the moment, no one really looking for it. Good vision around it by Legacy. Might give Tally some time to react if the Chiefs try to get in there to set up for themselves. Swiffer currently doing that right now, as you can see. Gets a couple of wards over the top. Nice tongue lash there from Ejim towards the bottom side as Ray's just clearing minions one after the other, and he's got a huge lead. This Caitlyn just doing Caitlyn things.
Similar principle to that of the Sivir when you play League of Legends. You just want to make King on his Lucian fight minions, not you, so that you can hit him for free. As now the bottom lane of the Chiefs moving forward aggressively, controlling Legacy's jungle.
And already a little Sentinel going over to Raze, once again padding that stat as Swiffer's come over. He wants to try and pick this one up for himself, throws down the Q, that's going to be Spooks locking it down. They don't want to take too much of a risk. Chiefs move their bottom lane right back. King and Kuden, we'll see whether they can respond. Of course, Glacial Fissure is available, the culling is also available.
Yeah, a lot of strength to be seen. Of course, the Braum being on Lucian's team means nobody can block the culling. And the door is proving not to be too effective. I just lost my words. Yeah, nice. Good.
No, not all that effective, correct. I heard it being completely right. Let's choose stacking up that tier now in the mid lane. He's even in farm. Everything's going fine despite that earlier kill. Swiffer possibly could be... No, he's got a glacial path. Never mind.
Remember though, Cassiopeia, if there's ever a W there, you can't take any movement spells.
Hey, that's true.
There's always a kill threat. And Carbon finally starting to make some moves on Summoner's Rift, looked towards mid lane. As Swiffer's getting a little bit coy, always moving around, trying to make plays.
Ejim actually has to eat his grey health here underneath the turret. As King, wow, that headshot
Spooks
was a lot.
Yeah, he gets the flash body slam. There's the ultimate as well as Kuden flashes his way up, but Swiper's in, the exhaust down. King's gonna die, Carbon turns up, but is it too late as Kuden's in trouble? Swiper's gonna catch up to him. It's a double kill for the Shen, and Carbon now relegated underneath his turret, but Raze is at about 100 health. And he's having a bit of trouble working out where the heck to go.
Yeah, he may die to minions at this point. Carbon's just playing pest. They want to dive him, get the turret. But he wants Raze.
Teleport. There's the Norm though coming out of Ejim. Frozen Tomb picks up the kill. Spooks in trouble and Choose grabs him. Tally gets in the backside. Raze flashes his way out. Ejim's going to fall and Tally looking to catch up, but Choo-Choo's underneath this turret is going to fall incredibly low. Unless these minions frustrate Swiffer, and they do. This is a disaster for the Chiefs as the Timewinder comes in once again. Triple kill for Tally. King turns up, and the Chiefs get wiped.
They get a complete ace for Legacy at 11 minutes into this game. Game number 3 is entirely turned around for Legacy now. They've got momentum. They need to consolidate what they just found.
That's incredible. Now Legacy with the time on their hands. We'll see whether this outer turret does fall down, whether this bottom lane from the Chiefs can make it there in time. Because that could be such a big move, especially if King grabs the money.
And we do get to see Tally pop off here. This is movements to keep Choose down and forcing an early flash from him. So it does get out all right. Ray is currently having an epic battle with minions. The problem here is he gets engaged on, heals at the same time as getting eaten by Ejim, so wasted spells. And that's honestly where things start to go a little bit poorly. Spooks, if the eat was available, could have lived and could have played a part in ensuring that Tally doesn't get this triple kill. But that Echo, he just styled on everybody from the Chiefs.
Yeah, just incredibly well played and good cleanup here by Tally. Choose also surviving. Would have been a big mental blow to the Chiefs because honestly, Swiffer almost cancelled that auto attack. It looked so close. But Chiefs do get towards this bottom outer turret. And it may actually fall here. Legacy caught napping just a little bit. That's going to be first turret blood going over to the Chiefs.
Just Caitlyn.
Yeah. Gold lead now secured well and truly.
Yeah, so unfortunately for Legacy, they make a good play, but they're still being moved around on the map. On the opposite side of the rift is Carbon at the moment, at the enemy Wolves. But Chiefs take a turret, they immediately go to the Drake, and there's no response currently from Legacy at all.
Yeah, well, Void Rush is going to come in. So at least Carbon makes it towards the bottom side, but it's too little too late. And remember, Legacy didn't have their teleport. They didn't have Tally available.
They will collapse on Tally here. He needs to be careful.
Yeah, Swiper's going to turn up. There's the phase dive over. He gets slowed. Swiffer gets the stun down. Good shield for Tally. Looks to clear out this pink ward. Blue buff is going to be the target here for the Chiefs.
Yeah, Carbon's still looking towards it just with the P shooter, but doesn't find it. Really just being a pest at the moment, though, is Tally. And the only fortunate thing for the Chiefs in that respect is the Swiper's got 3 of the kills. It's 4 to 5, and 6 of them are in the top lane for each respective top laner.
Both of them playing very well. Swiffer doesn't get the stun, but Legacy were ready. Swiffer's in trouble. The ultimate comes down, but he's going to get destroyed way too fast. Legacy waiting patiently.
They've changed their strategy here. They're moving up towards the top side. They look towards Swiffer so that he can't look towards the rest of them. They've completely adjusted what they were looking towards, and their focus shifting in a positive direction.
Yeah, this game's still very, very close, but it does look like Legacy have got some of their pizzazz back. Looking forward to seeing whether they can continue to make further advancements.
It also coincides with Caitlyn having an item drop to the Ghost Blade of King.
Yeah,
so there's plenty of opportunities for Legacy in the next 2 to 5 minutes before he completes an item to actually start making some plays. That kill in the mid lane is a good first step, but King just doesn't have vision yet. They really need to set up.
Well, Tally will make this minion wave crash. And this bottom outer turret hasn't taken very much damage at all, though, just Caitlyn. What it does do for that situation. Nice Pistol Scepter now completed here from Swiffer, as well as the Lucidity Boot, so 20% CDR, as well as having that flash and teleport available a whole lot more often.
Yeah, this early in the game, we're starting to get those big item spikes once more for each respective team. The Trinity Force is the biggest one, though, for Tally.
Yeah.
He should be able to duke it out with Swiper and win now with his dueling item.
Especially now with 6 stacks on his Dark Seal as well, really cashing in on that triple kill from earlier. Timewinder still looks to do about nothing here to Swiper with his Spectre's Cowl and his Sunfire Cape. Not too much of a worry here for the Chiefs top laner. This is the Cannon Creeper, so that is just a disaster. Nice stun there from Tally. He's just trying to frustrate the Shim.
It's all about hitting those 3 stacks, though. Swiper's health bar does go down whenever he connects the passive on top of everything else. Legacy still looking a little bit more aggressive now, though, trying to make some plays.
They're the ones moving into the enemy jungle. They're the ones making the proactive moves, like you say. Raze does have a lot of flat AD as well as that attack speed, but you're right, there's no completed items here from this Caitlyn. Needs that Hurricane, needs the Infinity Edge.
Yeah, and he's a while off if he's going towards the Infinity Edge. He needs to finish the Hurricane because of his item slots at the moment not being very efficient.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs might just hold on till then.
Well, Swiffer actually going to lock down Choose. The cleanse comes out, but there's the Petrifying Gaze. The slow comes in. Good flash from Carbon as Swiffer gets himself out. Tally now in trouble. The tower shot's going to come in. Ejim eats the Echo, and he's going to pick up the shutdown. King and Kuda now waiting off to the side. Ejim might face check. Winter's Bite lands, but Raze is going to turn up. The sandwich now on the bottom lane of Legacy. The Flash Body Slam. The Flash Dawn and King taken down so low. Good ultimate comes out of Kuden, but he sacrifices himself. Choose is going to die. Whoa, the ace in the hole was close. But that's going to spell the outer turret, and the Chiefs bounce back.
It just happens every single time. The Chiefs are coming up so clutch, picking the engages almost reactively to that of Legacy, though. The Shen's massive. The Gragas getting flash body slams and setting his team up is just incredible. Spooks is still having the series of his life.
Spooks and Swiper are honestly playing the best I've ever seen them play. This is unbelievable. That duo play with the flash body slam, the flash taunt was exceptional.
Yeah, and they, because of this skirmish, are able to get themselves past the item drop that the Caitlyn's experiencing, closer to that Infinity Edge and has a completed item. Works out so well.
Yeah. And even more wait for it to come in. That Piltover Peacemaker wasn't enough. Now that Ronan's going to be very, very happy. Only about 1,400 gold away from the Infinity Edge at the same time. 2 items feels pretty good for Caitlyn, but not best. Want to get to those 3 item, 4 item situation for this grid-based carry.
Yeah, definitely does. And he should be fine, honestly, set up for it now.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs are just able to cruise around. Ocean Drake could be the next point they look towards. Oh, not even a necessity though, because again, they're a siege composition. The best thing that they want to do is hit turrets and force Legacy to come towards them. We saw the reactive play already in that middle lane.
Yeah, and talking about Siege, these traps are now being set up. Carbon looks for Ejim. There's the ultimate immediately from Swiper, though. Teleport from Swiffer. Kuden's getting taken down low, the double taunt. And there's the explosive cast. Kuden explodes, and Carbon's going to follow. Parallel conversion, four-man stun. King, massive damage in the backline, but Choose can't find his way through. Swiper is gigantic. Tally falling down low. Another good taunt is Tally. Okay, King able to lock that one up. Choose takes down Swiper. It's a 2 for 2, and it's a slugfest between Chiefs and Legacy.
We need to take a second to appreciate how much work Tally just did in that fight. And the fact that it was still this close really goes to show how tough it's going to be for Legacy past this point. A 4-man stun into a 3-man ultimate from an Echo that is massive almost turns the tide of that engage.
And Choose as well. I mean, his ultimate did a heck of a lot of work. Just in general, King was able to get the damage down, but look at the CC.
And seriously, just watch Tally right now. This parallel convergence placement with the direction the Chiefs want to go hits so many people. That was absurd. King able to free hitters. Now the Dragon.
Whoa! Okay, Spooks is going to get eaten through the wall as well. No flash needed. Didn't even have it. Oh, he is. He's a thief.
Unlucky.
Yeah.
Really? Walks into your pit. Takes you, Drake.
And it's like the most ironic situation as well, because he's Santa. Supposed to be giving.
Came down the chimney, stole you, Drake.
Yeah, exactly.
And got eaten by a cane toad. It's not really Christmas at all.
Yeah, I know. This is the weirdest Christmas I've ever had. King and Cruden going to set up for this Rift Scuttlong. Swiper, hitting in the wings actually down here. Doesn't have the ultimate back off cooldown just yet. It has his Spirit Visage completed. Back to the Void goes Harold. There's the Abyssal Voyage. Tally looking for the stun. Could possibly get it. Uses the ult. Gets himself out of the way. But the belly bop comes in. Swiffer's going to have the damage as Ace in the hole cleans it up. Ray says, that'll be my kill. Thanks,
yeah,
guys.
they even gift the kill to the Caitlyn. The Chiefs now looking towards a Swiper.
Yeah, and a whole host of trouble. Doesn't get stunned. Nice use of that W to stop a lot of the damage. But the taunt ain't going to do anything with when he's dead. And Legacy trade for the trade.
And unfortunately for Legacy, though, it does feel like an afterthought. The Chiefs are currently pushing towards the inner turret on this top lane. They will still get the outer in the middle lane from the looks of it, but it's not a winning trade at all.
Yeah, look at Ray's damage on this turret. Spook's happy to tank that one up, and that is 2 that come in. Good win.
They might want to fight this, though.
Yeah, possibly looking for a way through. They're going to throw one down. Outer turret does eventually fall. Choose not going to be there for any team fight. Swiffer going to answer the Snake Lady in the mid.
Big rotation from Legacy stops Chiefs from pushing any further, but that was 2 big turrets taken down consecutively. And that gold lead is still not big enough to say that the Chiefs are well and truly ahead. And it's 1-4 in turrets. That's a big deal considering the gold's this close and there's 3 turrets available for Legacy.
Yeah, if a fight ever does break out and Legacy take it, especially convincingly, then that could just be the whole gold swing all the way back around, especially if one of those Barons is picked up. Ellie still doing work. Giant spell completed. Doesn't have any stacks left on his Dark Seal, unfortunately. The Merc Treads are there. He's getting tankier and tankier now. We'll see whether he can be exactly what Legacy need. He's 40 CS ahead. The Echo, like you said, massive.
Yeah, definitely is. Now the Baron is standing. You can see it there. Ward's being cleared at 21 minutes. It's a little bit early, to be honest with you, for the Chiefs team composition. What about this?
There's the body slam. Explosive cask avoided. That's because of the flash from Choose. Uses all of his buttons and gets out.
Yeah, has to cleanse to flash away, but does get away. And again, the reason that the Chiefs are placing these pink wards and all of this vision control near the pit, strictly to try and catch Legacy rotating towards it.
Carbon at least does have his tremor sense, so can spot the Chiefs, even if they don't have that vision. Thankfully for them, don't really need it. They do manage to get a ward in the Baron pit, now being pinged out by the Chiefs. And Swiffer, of course, very, very mobile. Will be able to clear the ward and get out.
He doesn't want to actually get hit by Baron. Thankfully, he can use his claw, get out safely. Legacy, they need shoes. That's what they need. They've got Tally in this third game. He's doing work. King has been doing a lot of work this whole series. He has been doing his part to win.
He has.
Just feels like Choose hasn't really shown up yet. This is a great opportunity for him, though. Lots of kill involvement.
Oh, Spooks and Ejim looking for a nice knock up there. Is Ejim going to try and run away quickly, but doesn't quite move fast enough. Stand United comes in. Spooks looking for the re-engages. Raze lots of damage onto Kuden. Teleport from Swiffer will need to ult himself most likely, but Tally is going to be the focus. Raze grabs it with a crit to the head. Ace in the hold down onto Carbon as now King doesn't have the front line he needs. That ultimate from Choose was massive, but good exhaust out of Ejim keeps him alive. Carbon falls as Raze is plowing through this team. Swiffer gets the lockdown. Sonyas is there and avoids the CC from the Braum. Massive fight for Chiefs.
Now the two carries from Legacy are still standing, so the Chiefs with no health bars can't push too far. They know that once they come back from the base, they'll be able to take them down. Just get what you can from a situation like this. No Baron should be looked at. Work around your Caitlyn.
Yeah. Raze now looking to set up some traps under this inner turret. It's taken a bit of damage already, and this wave clear is huge. King, can he defend on his own? And it looks like no is the answer. This is Caitlyn's favorite place. Shooting a turret.
And on the edge of a 3-0 victory now, Chiefs. Legacy is still here to play. That is a big lead, but that's not enough to win a game yet.
Not yet. We are not calling this one anywhere near over. He's going to have a look at that last skirmish again.
Yeah, Ejim saves Spooks a bit, and it's the Shen ultimate. Honestly, every single time that's been the difference. Telly comes in, and they think they've caught Swiffer, but really they just haven't, because the Chiefs are positioned so incredibly well to keep him alive, while Swiper is dealing with one of the primary damage sources.
Just insane. This was good.
But he was exhausted at the same time, so again, beautiful play from the Chiefs at a micro level, and then kiting backwards after this point, knowing that there's no point chasing further.
Swiffer as well, getting that Zhonya's, avoids the stun from King. That was 3 for nothing. 5,000 gold, the lead approximately for the Chiefs. 5 turrets now to 1. Tunnel's gonna go. Nice ward there outside the Baron pit. Giving a lot of information here to Legacy.
Yeah, good ward, should spot everything. No pink ward's available for the Chiefs, so they're not gonna look towards doing the Baron, you would imagine. Kill the Scuttle, there we go.
He wanted to buy as much time as he possibly could, you know? That is a rapid fire cannon done now for Raze. He's got himself a Null Magic Mantle. We'll see whether it's Mercurial Scimitar item number 4. This Caitlyn never really looked like she was in a trough, and she's only getting more and more terrifying as these items kind of start coming in.
Yeah, they're at a point where the Chiefs can actually execute on their team composition, hit that late game stride. And right now they're starting up a second Ocean.
Yeah, it's already down to half health. Spooks and Swipe for the Dream Team at the moment. Ray's going to turn up, help out. There's the smite to lock it down. Remember, Legacy do have the Cassiopeia. A sneaky Baron would be something they're capable of, but they need to clear vision. They need to get some control of this map.
Yeah, I mean, Legacy backs against the wall. I think it's safe to say, but with a Cassiopeia and a back against the wall, Chiefs have one direction that they can go.
Yeah.
And going forwards into a Cassiopeia ultimate is ultimately just death.
Yeah, petrifying, some would say.
It's a bit scary.
Choose. He's clearing things out, building towards his Void Staff for item number 3. See whether he can actually pick it up on this back. We've got a QSS done for King, so that Frozen Tomb not as scary. And that's a Dead Man's Plate for Tally. Bit of extra damage, bit of extra tankiness. But he's 3-3-2 now. Very different from that 3-0 start to this game.
Yeah, at least has his items now starting to come together, but it feels like it still doesn't compare to his opposition. Once again, Spooks 0-1-10. That Frozen Heart's doing a lot of work.
Yep.
Will stop a lot of damage. We're just waiting for someone to actually go.
Well, Swiffer might be engaged on here as Carbon as well. Raze has so much damage, gets into his tunnel network and gets himself out. Of course, Swiffer with his claw was able to escape at the same time.
Yeah, nobody following. Of course, Choose was around the corner on the snake. So they show respite. Everything resets one more time, but every single facet of Legacy's advances has been entirely negated by that of the Chiefs. They are just one step ahead, and they're doing Baron.
Yeah, they've got a Mountain Drake here as well. Ocean Drake going to help them with a whole bunch of that regen, but Legacy are going to be here. Stand United comes in on top of Spooks. Will they focus this Baron? Carbon unable to do it. He's also going to get taken down. The last crit bullet comes over the side, and Raze locks it up. Tally now in the back line. Good stun as Swiffer gets in by Ejim in the nick of time. Tally with the ult. Loses in and gets the mid laner, but falls down. Another body slam. 3-man barrel. Spooks going nuts. Swiper gets the stun, and that's the ace, and the Chiefs will move up mid lane.
A complete ace now. Legacy have to watch as potentially their entire base starts to go down. The Baron buff to back up the Chiefs. They will get at least the inhibitor, you would imagine, with this push.
Raze has a lot of damage here at the same time. Will they be able to push any further is the question. Will definitely be the end of this inhibitor. Legacy, 4 seconds on Carbon. Tally under 20. Kuden's going to be up. It's going to be just the inhibitor. Chiefs do back away. Empowered recalls and a whole lot more siege power as if they needed it.
But we are 28 minutes in, and that's 10,000, the difference between both of these teams. They are set up, ready to get on that podium. This is dire for Legacy.
Beginning to book flights to Brazil. One step closer now for the Chiefs. Legacy not out of it yet. People have come back from worse. But it is so, so difficult. Guardian Angel almost done for Tally. It's an Archangel's close for Choose. It will be a Ceres when it gets completed, but it has to be a Void Star first.
They're close to fighting fit, they are. But 5 minutes maybe is how long they'll have to hold on for, and I just don't know if they can for 5 whole minutes watch the Chiefs just push them in.
Yeah.
Again, composition-wise, the Chiefs can just set up a siege, utilize Raze on the Caitlyn, or they can look for a neutral objective, place the traps, and make Legacy come at them.
It's going to be another Mountain Drake here as well. And double Mountain makes it very difficult to defend turrets. Raze now doing crits for, you know what, 1,700 damage. That's terrifying. Now that his Mercurial Scimitar is completed, only now needs something like the last Whisper item as Raze gets the crit. King takes half of his health bar. That is just dumb. Every bullet counts now. There's the shield coming out from the face of the mountain. And Swiper now split pushing on the top side against Tally.
But Swiper's just an impenetrable fortress of a human being at the moment. Like, Tally cannot actually touch him. He will always be in these fights.
That's a lot of traps. That is a lot of traps. 5. As you can see, Raze just running around in circles and then throwing rapid fire cannon shots at that turret. Then moving up, gets the autos. The miasma is there, but look at that damage as the tower gets completed. Chiefs now pushing forward to the inhibitor. Super creeps have to be dealt with. Legacy just don't look like they have the answers. Ray's so hot on his feet right now.
And the Tahm Kench pick again. They try and go in. Tahm Kench just eats the Caitlyn, and they walk away.
Oh, Swimp is the one going out. Man, snare as King's in trouble. Carbon going down low as look at the crits from Ray, splashes forward, picks up the Brawn. King's on the fountain. Legacy still have the damage remaining. Good stun comes out of Tally as Choose is trying to follow up, but the Chiefs are too far ahead. King melts. Double kill for the Caitlyn. Make that a triple as Tally gets exhausted. And Raze, welcome to the Chiefs. And welcome to your first OPL Finals victory as the Chiefs take down Legacy.
Your 2016 OPL champions, the Chiefs.
One more time, guys. Give it up for the Chiefs. One more time, Brisbane. Give it up for the Chiefs. Sam, one more time. You guys are OPL finalists. OPL champions. Tell me how it's feeling.
Mate, feel pretty bloody good, I'll tell you that much. You know, I'm proud of the boys. because, you know, we were a little bit worried going into this series, but everyone played their absolute best today, and I'm so fucking happy.
It's one thing to beat Legacy, but to sweep them 3-0, I mean, just talk about Legacy and how they're a hard opponent at all times.
Yeah, Legacy always like bring it to us. As I said before, like we were a little bit nervous going into the series. I've never had this feeling going into an OPL final where I'm like not 100% confident we were going to win. But yeah, credit again to my boys. So proud that, you know, we played this well today.
All right, eyes on the prize. I mean, you win the final. IWCQ just around the corner. New superstar 80 carry. Are you guys confident going in?
Like, Worlds is an absolute dream for us, and we're playing so well at the moment. So we are very confident, and, you know, hopefully we can win.
And what do you want to say to these people here and at home?
Look, thanks for all the support, guys. Really appreciate it. The crowd was amazing today. So good. And hopefully we can represent Oceania well when we go overseas. Love you guys.
I certainly think you will. Brisbane, that is all from us here. Thank you so much for joining us at home. We'll see you at IWCQ.
My fingers tight. Time was still and I was lost from sight for a while. The call is new to turn me loose. You had my heart. I knew it from the start. Tattooed on my never feel the